the personal driver of the beautiful CEO. Office of the Executive Assistant at Dongfang Group. Wang Chao, dressed in a security uniform, fixed his gaze on the executive assistant, Bai Qian, and couldn't help but swallow hard. Bai Qian was clad in a complete outfit that exuded a powerful, queen aura. However, at that moment, she was momentarily stunned. Upon noticing Wang Chao's lewd gaze on her, she instantly felt a mix of shame and anger. Wang Chao, what are you talking about? As the executive assistant of Dongfang Group, Bai Qian never expected that this little security guard would be so bold as to watch inappropriate films during work hours and be caught in the act by her. Yet now, he showed no remorse and openly flirted with her. It was simply outrageous. However, Wang Chao merely shrugged nonchalantly, then grinned and began analyzing Bai Qian's assets. Assistant Bai. He pointed at her, his smile more playful than ever. Bai Qian was completely dumbfounded. She couldn't believe this little security guard dared to speak to her like that. Especially when he was in the wrong and being reprimanded by her. What was her status? In the company, she was practically second to none. Countless people spoke to her with trepidation. Yet Wang Chao, he actually dared to talk back. Was this guy crazy? Or was he asking for trouble? Wang Chao seemed oblivious to the fact that Bai Qian was on the verge of exploding. After finishing his remark, he even smiled and complimented her. Among all the women I've seen, although there are plenty with D cups, there aren't many like you who have no artificial enhancements at all. Enough. Wang Chao. I didn't call you to the office for you to flirt. Do you still want to keep your job? Bai Qian was so furious she was nearly steaming, struggling to suppress the urge to throw Wang Chao out the window, her beautiful eyes glaring at him as if she wanted to swallow this scoundrel whole. I'm telling you, watching inappropriate films in the security office has tarnished the image of Dongfang Group. And now you show no remorse, openly flirting with me. This is harassment. Bai Qian was furious. It was the first time she had encountered such a shameless scoundrel. What do you mean by harassment? I even have video comparisons. If you don't believe me, I can show you some videos of women with artificial breasts, definitely a different degree of bounce. Wang Chao pulled out his phone, earnestly wanting to discuss it with Bai Qian. Put your phone away. Who wants to watch those videos with you? Bai Qian was startled, genuinely worried Wang Chao might pull up those embarrassing videos right in front of her. You don't believe me? I'm scientifically discussing this with you. It's of great research value. Wang Chao's eyes kept wandering to Bai Qian's chest. Bai Qian had encountered many people who had ogled her chest, but she had never met someone as direct and shameless as Wang Chao. After a moment, Wang Chao continued, however, it's still a bit inaccurate through clothing. Why not just take the clothes off? That would be even better. Come on, let us research together. We might unlock some new positions. Unlocking positions. Bai Qian was momentarily taken aback but quickly realized what Wang Chao meant. Images of the inappropriate films flashed through her mind, and she inexplicably felt a flush rise to her face. But more than that, she was filled with anger. Bai Qian pointed directly at the office door. Enough, Wang Chao. Since you love to research so much, go home and research. I'm officially telling you, you're fired. Now, immediately, get out. I was just discussing science with you, and I haven't even verified it yet. Does that mean I'm fired? Wang Chao looked wronged. Get out. Get out. Get out. Bai Qian was furious. She can guarantee she wouldn't throw Wang Chao out the window the next second. Okay, you're the boss. Whatever you say goes. If you want me to leave, I'll leave. Who told me I'm in the weaker position? Wang Chao said helplessly, slowly backing away, but he still kept his eyes on Bai Qian, looking reluctant. It seemed a shame not to scientifically verify this. Just as Wang Chao reached the door, Bai Qian's phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the caller ID and pressed the answer button. Mr. Lin, this is Bai Qian. Bai Jie, I need you to arrange for a driver. The project head from the opposing group is back, and I need to meet him to discuss the project. Mr. Lin's voice was a bit excited over the phone. It was evident he was determined to secure this project. I must rush over now. Upon hearing this, Bai Qian was troubled. At this hour, the company's drivers had already left, and now it was just her and the recently fired Wang Chao. She didn't have a driver's license and couldn't possibly go pick up Mr. Lin. Did that mean she had to let that scoundrel go? Bai Qian's face was filled with struggle, but after a moment, recalling Mr. Lin's enthusiasm on the phone, she took a deep breath, suppressed her emotions, and gritted her teeth at Wang Chao, who had retreated to the door. Hey, stop. Come back here. Here's the translation. Chapter 2, a correct guess at the start, but not the end. In an instant, everyone's curiosity was piqued. Would the young master Bai Yundao succeed in winning over the goddess Lin Xinrui of Yunhai? Just as the two groups of helium balloons reached their peak, the staff beside Bai Yundao suddenly let go. Bai Yundao, who was tethered to thousands of colorful helium balloons, was lifted several meters off the ground by their upward force. This scene caused the girls in the crowd to erupt in squeals. How romantic! To create such a spectacle for a confession, if it were directed at them, they would be blissfully faint. The girls' cheers made Bai Yundao realize how impactful his actions were, and his confident smile grew even wider. He believed his carefully devised confession strategy would strike a chord deep within any woman's soul. No one could resist it. Even Lin Xinrui, known as the ice goddess with no rumors surrounding her, would be no exception. Bai Yundao raised a small megaphone and shouted into it, "Xinrui, from the moment I met you, my heart and soul have been captured by you. Now, I come to confess to you riding on a rainbow cloud." He continued with deep emotion, "Xinrui, be my girlfriend. Give me a chance, give us a chance, and I'll make you the second happiest person in the world." However, Lin Xinrui's pretty face turned extremely pale at this grand spectacle. What was this? Was he trying to use public opinion to coerce her into being his girlfriend? Was he saying she would lose face in front of so many people if she refused? Though Lin Xinrui didn't directly voice her refusal, her silence made Bai Yundao feel somewhat embarrassed. Especially after he claimed he would make her the second happiest person in the world. Shouldn't she shyly ask who the first happiest person was? Without her response, how could he continue? Bai Yundao's entourage was well aware of the situation and were quite perceptive. Seeing their boss in an awkward position, someone immediately teased, "Young Master Bai, then who is the happiest person in the world?" At this, Bai Yundao's expression calmed down, and he shot an appreciative glance at the questioner before picking up the megaphone again. "Having a girlfriend like Xinrui, of course, the happiest person in the world is me. Does that even need to be asked? So dumb." Though he was reprimanded, the one who had interjected felt pleased inside, knowing if the boss succeeded, he would surely be rewarded. Bai Yundao waited Lin Xinrui's touched response of "I'm willing." Just then, the roar of an engine interrupted. A Mercedes S600 elegantly swerved and came to a halt right in front of Lin Xinrui. The window rolled down, and a hand holding a cigarette extended out, flicking the burning tip in Bai Yundao's direction. The sparks from the cigarette tip made contact with the helium balloons suspended above Bai Yundao. Boom! One balloon burst instantly. Then, like a chain reaction, bang! 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 The entire cluster of helium balloons above Bai Yundao exploded. The huge commotion was even more shocking than Bai Yundao's helicopter confession. The crowd stared, dumbfounded, at Bai Yundao, who had fallen from 4 or 5 meters in the air, all internally reflecting that they had only guessed the beginning but not the end. Meanwhile, as the car door opened, Wang Chao approached Lin Xinrui nonchalantly and offered an apologetic smile. "Ms. Lin, sorry, nature called, and I took a little longer. Come on, let us get in the car." Chapter 3, a fun game. The silence in the car didn't last long before Lin Xinrui's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID dad and immediately hung up without hesitation. The phone rang again. She silenced it, and then it rang again. After several repetitions, the person on the other end clearly wasn't one to give up, continuously calling. In the end, it was Lin Xinrui who compromised, pressing the answer button and bringing the phone to her ear. A charming middle-aged man's voice came through, unfazed by her earlier actions. Rui, it's me. How have you been lately? Why haven't you called home? No need for you to worry. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I have things to do." Despite her father's gentle tone, Lin Xinrui responded coldly, her tone distant. "Oh, I called to tell you that the time we agreed upon is almost here." Before he could finish, Lin Xinrui hung up again, tossing her phone onto the decorative strip in the passenger seat. The quality phone fell apart, and the call was naturally cut off. That cursed agreement, how could time pass so quickly? Staring out the window at the flashing neon lights and recalling her father's warm voice and Qin Shou's ugly face, Lin Xinrui felt a wave of irritation. With her frustration building, she thought of alcohol as a way to relieve her distress. "Take me to the violet bar." Wang Chao noticed her unusual behavior and the irritation in her eyes didn't escape his keen observation. There were many benefits to drinking in a bar, but for Wang Chao, there was one thing that attracted him the most: the scantily clad women. The Violet Bar was famous for its abundance of beautiful women, and its popularity was evident, often packed to the brim. The deafening bass, the electrifying atmosphere, the frenzied men and women, the swaying arms, and the scent of flesh filled the bar with a distinct aura of hormones. Lin Xinrui, focused on her career, rarely visited such places. The overt desires within made her feel uncomfortable. She wanted to leave but couldn't bring herself to do so since she was the one who wanted to come. Ms. Lin, stay close to me. If you get lost here, it'll be hard for me to find you, Wang Chao said, expertly guiding Lin Xinrui through the crowd, his gaze eagerly scanning the half-clad women around as he led her to the second floor of the bar. He brought her to a small booth in a corner, the best vantage point in the bar, allowing them to look down on everything happening below. Most importantly, from here, all the various curves and bare skin were instantly visible. Not long after they sat down, a tall, slender bar manager approached them, clearly there to ask what they needed. Bring us the best drinks you have, as many as you can. I'm not worried about having too much, I'm worried about not having enough to drink, Wang Chao shouted boldly, taking on the air of a wealthy man beside Lin Xinrui. Sir, our best drink is the Romani Conti from Burgundy, which costs 188,000. The next best is Lafite at 99,000. Would you like some? Though the slender manager wore a smile, his eyes reflected disdain. He clearly didn't believe Wang Chao could afford such expensive drinks. Wang Chao, dressed in a blue and white t-shirt, worn-out work pants, and faded sneakers, didn't look like the son of a wealthy family at all. Seeing the disdain in the manager's eyes, Wang Chao widened his eyes and retorted, "You blind fool! I'm just a driver, but that beautiful lady is my boss. Do you think she can afford these drinks?" He muttered under his breath, "If it weren't for someone treating us, I wouldn't drink these overpriced and horrible things." Lin Xinrui overheard Wang Chao's muttering and felt anger boiling inside her, wanting to bite off a piece of his flesh. Noticing Lin Xinrui beside him, the slender manager's eyes lit up. He had never seen such a beautiful woman in all his time working there. After years in the business, he could easily tell who had money just by looking at Lin Xinrui's outfit. "Boss, please wait a moment, I'll bring your drinks right away." After saying this, the slender manager left the booth, and before long, he returned with a bottle of each drink he had mentioned, along with plenty of snacks and a fruit platter. "You seem to be quite familiar with this place," Lin Xinrui remarked as she stood beside Wang Chao, noticing his greedy gaze lingering on the beautiful women below. "Just a bit. I usually come here on the first, third, and fifth days of the week to check out the girls and the views, just to spice up life," Wang Chao replied with a smile, his gaze still fixated on the dance floor. "You were probably a eunuch in your last life." "Har har, Ms. Lin, who cares about past lives? Even if I was a chicken, a dog, or some beast, as long as I live up to the skin my parents gave me in this life, that's enough." Wang Chao wasn't offended by Lin Xinrui's words. He responded with a carefree attitude. "Ms. Lin, there's no hurdle in life that can't be overcome. Today, let us drink to our heart's content, and who cares about tomorrow's troubles? At least tonight, you have this handsome guy to keep you company. It would be a waste not to drink the bought alcohol. If you don't want to, I can help you drink it." Wang Chao poured 2 empty glasses full, lifted one, and downed it in one go. Lin Xinrui hesitated not at all, lightly raising her head, and followed Wang Chao's example, gulping down a full glass of wine. Cough cough. But as someone who had never had strong liquor before, Lin Xinrui felt her throat burn, and she was caught off guard, coughing hard. Her alcohol tolerance was already low, and with such a big glass of red wine, her entire face turned as red as a ripe apple, her snowy neck blushing as well. Chapter 4, Catching a Strongman. After about 10 minutes, Lin Xinrui's emotions calmed slightly, and she coldly told Wang Chao, "Get lost. Don't show up in front of me again." "Sure, I'll leave. As your first man, Ms. Lin, if you ever need anything, I promise I won't even frown when diving into fire for you," Wang Chao boasted, slapping his chest proudly. "I said don't show up in front of me again. Can't you understand human language?" Lin Xinrui yelled in frustration. Even if it was true, this bastard had truly taken away her innocence, and she couldn't get over that hurdle. "All right, take care." Wang Chao scratched his nose helplessly and walked out the door. "Last night you were still exercising in bed, and now you're making a scene. Can't you figure yourselves out?" Leaving so soon? If you're afraid your little buddy will get kicked, come play often. In the lobby, Ji Yuling, who had been straining to listen to the commotion in the room, greeted Wang Chao when he emerged. Lin Xinrui shot Ji Yuling a glare, making the girl shrink back, and she stuck out her tongue at Wang Chao. Wang Chao waved at Ji Yuling and walked towards the main entrance. In a small garden next to Lin Xinrui's apartment building, a beautiful figure had been lingering for an entire night. Just from her back, one could tell she was a stunning beauty. However, her long, delicate face was filled with fatigue, anxiety, and unease, evoking a sense of pity. She stared at the security gate of the complex, fearing she might miss something with a blink of an eye, her hands nervously gripping her pants, her eyes filled with anticipation. When Wang Chao strolled out of the security gate with a casual gait, her tense nerves seemed to snap at that moment, and her spirit completely crumbled. Tears streamed down her face as she sank softly into the grass, her gaze lost as she watched Wang Chao's retreating figure. It's over, we're really done. He has a new love and doesn't he want me anymore? She stared blankly for a long time before slowly getting up from the grass, not bothering to wipe the tears from her face, letting them dry in the wind. But her expression was resolute as she quickly left the garden, disappearing in no time. Only the grass where she had sat remained slightly bent, a testament to her recent presence. Wang Chao walked out of the complex's gate and pulled out his phone to turn it on. Beep. Beep beep. Beep beep beep. The sounds rang out for several minutes before stopping. 46 missed calls, 8 messages. Wang Chao, hurry to the company entrance, Bai Qian. Wang Chao, reply to this message. The president is waiting at the door, Bai Qian. Wang Chao, you bastard, hurry up and call me back. The president has been waiting for a long time. If you don't show up, I guarantee you'll regret it. Bastard, 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 call back quickly. Wang Chao, as long as you handle this matter, I'll help you prove your science. Seeing Bai Qian's messages, Wang Chao couldn't help but burst out laughing. These messages were sent yesterday before he met Lin Xinrui. In Lin Xinrui's office at Dongfang Group, Bai Qian stood straight in professional attire in front of Lin Xinrui's desk. Ms. Lin, is there anything you need? Lin Xinrui, who had been lost in thought, pulled herself together and calmly said, the driver you assigned yesterday, Wang Chao, right. Cut his salary for this month and terminate him. After arriving at the company, Lin Xinrui reviewed Wang Chao's profile and discovered he was still in his internship period. She maliciously thought that she wouldn't even have to pay compensation. Terminate him. Ms. Lin, he actually works quite seriously and gets along well with colleagues. Bai Qian attempted to persuade Lin Xinrui to reconsider. Bai Qian, just do as I say. Lin Xinrui looked up at Bai Qian with a complex expression, her tone extremely serious. That bastard had taken away her innocence so unfairly. Even if the fault wasn't his, she didn't want to see his carefree face again. Bai Qian realized Lin Xinrui had made her decision and didn't say more. I understand. I'll take care of it right away. Ms. Lin, here's today's schedule, take a look and see if you need any changes. Receiving the schedule from Bai Qian, Lin Xinrui glanced over it. The day's agenda looked fine, but she didn't want to attend the dinner that evening. Bai Qian, cancel all such dinner engagements for me in the future. I don't want to see these indifferent people. Lin Xinrui knew that all the people inviting her to dinner were after her body, which disgusted her greatly. She handed the revised schedule back to Bai Qian, but her phone rang at that moment. Glancing at the caller ID, Lin Xinrui decided to ignore it. But this person was surprisingly persistent. Despite her not answering, he continued to call. Eventually, Lin Xinrui couldn't hold back any longer. Gritting her teeth, she answered the call and held it to her ear. On the other end, Bai Yundao spoke with a refined and charming voice. Xinrui, I've invited some friends to my house tonight. Could you honor us with your presence? For an ordinary woman, hearing Bai Yundao's voice would likely spark a good impression for those more flirtatious, just his voice could make them swoon. Moreover, considering Bai Yundao's status, most women would be inclined to throw themselves at him willingly. However, that voice held no appeal for Lin Xinrui. Because of Bai Yundao's past harassment, she felt nothing but impatience towards him. I'm not going. Lin Xinrui replied coldly. Bai Yundao wasn't annoyed. Instead, he continued smiling. Xinrui, don't refuse so quickly. Everyone coming tonight is a prominent figure in Yunhai. Getting to know them would be a great advantage for your company. I'm busy. Lin Xinrui rejected again, her tone even colder than before. Xinrui, I'm clearly telling you now, no matter how difficult the road ahead is, I will pursue you until you find someone else and marry them. Only then will I give up. Chapter 5, The Little Driver Strikes Back. What are you doing? Bai Yundao yelled, fury igniting in his eyes. The dazed crowd snapped back to reality, looking incredulously at Lin Xinrui and Wang Chao, unable to believe that the beautiful city flower had truly fallen. At this moment, Lin Xinrui regained her senses and tried to push Wang Chao away, but waves of numbness coursed through her body, leaving her too weak to exert any force. After a long pause, Wang Chao licked his lips, savoring Lin Xinrui's fragrance. Ms. Lin, I did well, right? Wang Chao whispered in her ear. Lin Xinrui's eyes blazed with anger, but she had to rely on Wang Chao to stay upright. She reached for the soft flesh at his waist and twisted hard, 3 circles to the left and 3 to the right. Hiss! Wang Chao inhaled sharply. Ms. Lin, even if my kissing skills are truly extraordinary, you don't have to thank me like this. Even at this moment, Wang Chao still teased Lin Xinrui. You? Lin Xinrui no longer cared about the onlookers. She raised her fist to punch that annoying face. But as she swung her fist, Wang Chao gently grasped her hand, pulling her back into his embrace, kissing her forehead lightly and whispering, Ms. Lin, there are so many people around. Don't let my efforts go to waste. With her head lowered against Wang Chao's chest, Lin Xinrui took several deep breaths to suppress her anger before slowly lifting her head. In her heart, she swore fiercely, this bastard, I must kill him. I absolutely must. To outsiders, their interaction was a display of public affection. Meanwhile, Bai Yundao, ignored by Lin Xinrui, suppressed his anger and forced a smile, asking, Xinrui, you haven't answered me yet. Who is this person beside you? His icy gaze fixed on Wang Chao, jealousy evident. How could this kid taste something I haven't even had? I must cut out your tongue and feed it to the dogs. Hearing Bai Yundao's question, everyone unconsciously leaned closer, eager to know the answer. Wang Chao rolled his eyes and gave Bai Yundao a you must be an idiot look before turning his gaze back to Lin Xinrui with tenderness. I'm Xinrui's boyfriend, and I'll be her husband in the future. Wang Chao's tone was so sweet it made Lin Xinrui shudder in disgust, thinking his acting was terribly poor. When did Xinrui get a boyfriend? I've never heard of it. Bai Yundao exclaimed in disbelief. Are you the all-knowing sage of Yunhai? We were in bed together last night. I'm sure you wouldn't know that, Wang Chao replied with a grin. In bed? In bed? Bai Yundao froze again, as did everyone else present. At that moment, Bai Yundao suddenly recalled a figure he seemed to have seen Wang Chao somewhere before. After some thought, he remembered, wasn't he this the little driver who disrupted his attempts to court Lin Xinrui that day while driving the luxury car? I remember now. You're Xinrui's driver, right? What's your name again? Bai Yundao pretended to think, then said, Wang Chao, right. Driver? Lin Xinrui is actually sleeping with her driver? No way, this can't be true. Everyone present was in disbelief, filled with endless questions. Xinrui, is this person a temporary actor you hired? You wouldn't use a driver to fend off your admirers, would you? Bai Yundao fixed his intense gaze on Lin Xinrui, seeking confirmation. Lin Xinrui felt a pang of anxiety under his scrutiny, nearly revealing the truth. Are you Mr. Bai? Do you think someone like Xinrui, whom you admire, would casually hug or kiss someone? She has been conquered by my charm. Wang Chao pointed to his own face for emphasis. Lin Xinrui twisted the flesh at Wang Chao's waist again, 3 circles to the left and 3 to the right. Bai Yundao's smile froze at Wang Chao's words. Bai Yundao, don't pursue me anymore. Lin Xinrui took the opportunity Wang Chao had created and spoke coldly to Bai Yundao. Seeing the coldness on Lin Xinrui's face and the determination in her voice, Bai Yundao panicked and hurriedly explained, Xinrui, I just find it a bit unbelievable. You're moving too fast. Fast? Not at all. We've been together for several days. I have to thank someone for that. A few days ago, there was a fool who pretended to be important, flying around with a helium balloon, and I extinguished him with a cigarette butt. That's when Xinrui thought my cigarette flick was cool and fell for me, Wang Chao chuckled. What? You're calling that fool right in front of him? How could I possibly be a fool? Bai Yundao was shaking with rage. At that moment, a few men and women approached. Xinrui, is this guy really your driver? Are you two really together? He seems pretty handsome and strong, though. Among them, a sharp-featured woman asked Lin Xinrui several questions, her eyes sparkling as she looked at Wang Chao's muscles. Lin Xinrui glanced at the woman indifferently and replied, "He is my special assistant, Wang Chao." Har. So quickly from driver to executive assistant. It's like a crow turning into a phoenix. Sneered a cold-faced young man. Don't say that. The world has changed. Pigs can climb trees, and iron trees can bloom. An underdog defeating a wealthy beauty is also possible, the sharp-featured woman scoffed. The others wore disdainful expressions, clearly looking down on Wang Chao, believing his identity as a driver was unworthy of mingling with them. Lin Xinrui felt a surge of anger and was about to refute. But Wang Chao stopped her, smiling, "That's true. With Xinrui's help, I could sit at home counting my body hair and still live a worry-free life, but this kind of good fortune isn't something everyone can achieve, it's a skill." Chapter 6, Shocked. Everyone stared in a daze at the scene before them, their minds in chaos. Wang Chao, just a few days ago an inconspicuous commoner, was now Lin Xinrui's toy boy, and he had just slapped Bai Yu in the face. He even called Bai Yu and his group fools. "Damn it, you dare hit my man. I'll make sure you can't be a toy boy anymore." The sharp-featured woman charged at Wang Chao, her hands reaching for his face. Birds of a feather flocked together. Wang Chao, of course, wouldn't he let his handsome face get scratched by this woman. He dodged, and she rushed past him, only for him to kick her right in the backside. The sharp-featured woman stumbled forward, landing face first on the floor, hitting it hard and taking a moment to regain her senses. "MD, you actually dare to kick me?" She looked at Wang Chao in disbelief, clearly not expecting him to hit a woman. "What's wrong with kicking you? If you keep talking back, I'll pop both your silicone tits," Wang Chao retorted sharply. The crowd was once again shocked by Wang Chao. This little driver was way too fierce. "Wang Chao, you're just a toy boy, how dare you be so arrogant? How dare you look down on us? Everyone, let us team up and take him down. He was the one who hit Bai Xiao first. Even if Bai Xiao came, we'd still be in the right. Let us go. Let us go." The young men with Bao Yu charged forward, each grabbing a stool or chair, hoping to overwhelm Wang Chao with numbers. "With your little bodies, you think you can fight? I'll take you down as easily as drinking water." Wang Chao darted a few times, escaping from their encirclement, and kicked each of them in the backside, proving his words with action. The young masters fell one after another, some crashing into table corners and bleeding profusely, turning the scene chaotic. This was still Wang Chao holding back, otherwise, a single chop from him could have taken them all out on the spot. The blood ignited the atmosphere. The men stared wide-eyed, while the women covered their ears, screaming in shock. "Where is security? Where is security?" After a brief moment of shock, a few people began to retreat from Wang Chao, loudly calling for security. Wang Chao coldly glanced at the young masters on the ground, then surveyed the crowd and continued, "Anyone who doesn't like me can come up. I'll let you know why the flowers are so red." Faced with Wang Chao's provocation, no one dared to step forward. They all took a few cautious steps back, fearing that Wang Chao would associate them with Bao Yu and give them a beating as well. All a bunch of cowards. Lin Xinrui is my girl. If anyone dares to come forward and cause trouble, watch how I deal with you. And what about drivers? Are drivers not human? Starting today, I'm the spokesperson for all drivers. You'd better treat your drivers well, or if I hear anyone bullying a driver, I won't let them off easily. Wang Chao scanned the crowd with a fierce demeanor. Everyone lowered their heads involuntarily upon meeting his gaze, not daring to confront him. Seeing no one oppose him, Wang Chao casually walked over to a long table laden with food and started munching away. Lin Xinrui was worried that if she took too long in the restroom, Wang Chao would be bullied by the young masters outside. After tidying up quickly, she returned to their hall. "Are you okay? Did they give you a hard time?" Lin Xinrui asked softly as she approached the long table. "Nope, we got along quite well. They even let me enjoy the food here by myself," Wang Chao replied, taking a bite of lamb and sipping some red wine, burping contentedly. That didn't make sense. Bai Yu and the others had looked at Wang Chao with hostility earlier. How could they just let him off so easily? This didn't add up. But Lin Xinrui wasn't familiar with the people in the room, so she had no one to ask and reluctantly chose to trust Wang Chao's words. "Good to hear," Lin Xinrui said, relieved. What could happen to me? We were just chatting nicely, they even said we're a perfect match, a golden boy and jade girl, Wang Chao said with a smug expression. Lin Xinrui rolled her eyes in disbelief. Hey, don't believe me. Bao Yu, come here for a moment, Wang Chao waved at Bao Yu, signaling him to come over. Bao Yu had intended to retreat when Lin Xinrui came out, but now, being directly called out by Wang Chao, he had no choice but to step forward. Tell her, are we not a perfect match? Wang Chao stood next to Lin Xinrui, looking self-satisfied. Yeah, a perfect match, Bao Yu flattered. But Lin Xinrui noticed that Bao Yu was missing 2 front teeth and asked in confusion, did you knock out his teeth? Wang Chao wouldn't admitted and immediately replied, no way. No. Then where did his front teeth go? Lin Xinrui questioned. Did I say I just ate something? I hadn't eaten a single grain before that, how could I have the strength to hit someone? Wang Chao continued to defend himself. The guests all rolled their eyes. If he had strength, wouldn't he kick someone to outer space? Seeing that Lin Xinrui still didn't believe him, Wang Chao pulled Bao Yu over and said, Bao Yu, tell Xinrui, didn't I knock out your front teeth? Bao Yu was internally shedding tears, wondering why he was so unlucky to encounter such a tyrant. What sins had he committed? It was Wang Chao. I bumped into the edge of the table over there. Bao Yu protested, looking very aggrieved. Lin Xinrui still had some doubts, but since Bao Yu said it wasn't Wang Chao, she decided to let the topic drop. At that moment, Bai Yundao gracefully appeared from the 2nd floor of the villa, coming down the stairs with an expectant look on his face. Chapter 7, Call Someone Over. Bai Yundao and Bao Yu moved to a nearby corner. Before Bai Yundao could ask, Bao Yu, looking distressed, started venting to him. Bai Xiao, that guy doesn't take you seriously at all. He not only beat us up in your villa but also humiliated us. The others who had been with Bao Yu also gathered around, each one chiming in to complain to Bai Yundao. Bai Xiao, you have to stand up for us. Look at what he did to us. Yeah, Bai Xiao, this guy is way too arrogant, hitting us in your home. Just look at us, we're all bleeding. Listening to their complaints, Bai Yundao realized that this group had been thoroughly beaten up by Wang Chao. This made him furious. However, one thing puzzled him: how could they all be injured while Wang Chao remained completely unharmed? Were they really all unable to take on just one person? Is Wang Chao really that skilled? Bai Yundao asked, still skeptical. Skilled? Bao Yu cursed angrily and continued, he just took advantage of me when I wasn't paying attention and slapped me. Let it go for tonight. We'll find another chance to teach this guy a lesson next time, Bai Yundao said. After all, this was his party, and he didn't want things to spiral out of control. There would be plenty of chances to settle the score later. Bai Xiao, I can't let this go. I need to teach that guy a lesson tonight, otherwise, I won't be able to sleep. Bao Yu gritted his teeth. What else can we do? Bai Yundao frowned. My brother is with the Dragon Gang. I'll call him to bring some people over and teach that guy a lesson, Bao Yu said with resentment, casting a distant glare at Wang Chao. The Dragon Gang? Bai Yundao contemplated for a moment, then put on a troubled expression and advised, Bao Yu, this isn't a big deal, and getting involved with underground forces isn't very appropriate, is it? What's inappropriate? I'll do it regardless, Bao Yu snapped. I can't swallow this anger. But don't worry, Bai Xiao, I won't have them come to your house. After the party ends, I'll have them intercept that guy on their way. Bao Yu turned to the others, saying, just wait, I'll definitely capture that guy's downfall on camera to give you some satisfaction. After saying that, Bao Yu ran to another corner and started making a call. Brother, it's me. I got bullied tonight, bring 2 people over. Okay, I'll let you know when. Have them wait outside Bai Xiao's villa until the party is almost over, then I'll go find them. Got it, brother. Bye. Wang Chao and Lin Xinrui were at the party, and since they didn't know anyone, and Wang Chao had just threatened everyone, no one dared to approach them. Lin Xinrui actually enjoyed this, feeling no interruptions, just sitting quietly, eating snacks, and pondering her thoughts. I thought rich people's gatherings would be interesting, but it turns out it's just like this. So boring. Wang Chao had just indulged himself, and his stomach was now round, burping occasionally. Who do you think you are? Expecting people to lower themselves to curry favor with you? Lin Xinrui rolled her eyes at Wang Chao, mocking him. I'm nobody. I'm just Wang Chao, a little driver, the spokesperson for drivers, he said proudly, puffing out his chest. Lin Xinrui rolled her eyes again and chose to ignore him. However, she did feel something was off about the party's atmosphere. Besides Bai Yundao coming over to say a few words, no one else had approached to chat, which was completely different from usual. Lin Xinrui was beautiful and striking wherever she went, other women would pale in comparison. At regular gatherings, women would either glare at her with jealousy or make sarcastic remarks. But today, these women were acting strangely. Not only did they not come to mock her, but they also avoided her gaze, as if she were some kind of monster. As for the men, it was even stranger. With her looks, they would normally swarm around her like flies to meet, but today not a single one approached, and not even a glance was thrown her way. This was unscientific. There's nothing fun. I can't eat anymore. Let us head back early to wash up and sleep, Wang Chao said, looking at Lin Xinrui with a lewd smile. Get lost. Who wants to go back with you to wash and sleep? Lin Xinrui snapped. Hey, you said it too quickly. Did you reveal your true thoughts? But don't worry, Miss Lin, I won't do anything until I've captured your heart, Wang Chao joked. Lin Xinrui had gradually gotten used to Wang Chao's antics and started to automatically ignore some of his comments. But tonight, her goal was achieved. The news of her having a boyfriend would definitely spread throughout Yunhai tomorrow. Then she could use Wang Chao's thick face to fend off countless suitors. In the hall, she spotted Bai Yundao and politely greeted him, indicating she was leaving. Bai Yundao just politely tried to keep her there for a moment, but said nothing more. After escorting them to the door, he took out his phone and called Bai Yu to inform him that they had left. Chapter 8, Flip it over directly. Come clean, you knocked out Bai Yu's two front teeth, didn't he you? On their way back, Lin Xinrui felt increasingly uneasy about the night's events, prompting her question. Who knew I was so well hidden that the brilliant and mighty Lin Xinrui would see through me? Yes, I did knock out Bai Yu, Wang Chao pretended to be deep and serious. Lin Xinrui's expression changed. She hadn't expected it to be true. You just knocked out Bai Yu, and the others didn't react at all. I was puzzled too at the time, thinking that if things went south, I'd make a run for it. But surprisingly, these guys were so intimidated by my presence that no one dared to step up, so I just stuck around, playing the tough guy, Wang Chao chuckled. These second-generation rich kids can only talk tough. When it comes to real fighting, they are useless, Lin Xinrui scoffed, but suddenly recalled Wang Chao had mentioned he'd run away if things got tough. You mean to say you'd run and leave me behind? Lin Xinrui glared at Wang Chao, her eyes icy. Of course not. Wang Chao shook his head vigorously but caught the fiery glare from Lin Xinrui and quickly added, Lin, do you think I'm that kind of person? Even if you were in the women's restroom, I'd rush in to grab you and escape together. Hearing this, Lin Xinrui's expression softened slightly. Suddenly, Wang Chao glanced in the rearview mirror, noticing a car following them. He smirked and said, Oh, looks like Bai Yu has some guts after all. What? Lin Xinrui was puzzled by Wang Chao's cryptic remark. Wang Chao pointed to the mirror. It's a pro. We speed up, he speeds up, we slow down, he slows down. He's been tailing us the whole way. Lin Xinrui frowned and turned to look. Indeed, there was a car following them leisurely. I heard Bai Yu's brother is part of an underground organization with a decent position. These people can do anything. We need to get away fast. If they catch us, it'll be disastrous, Lin Xinrui said anxiously. Get away fast. We can't just fly off like a plane, Wang Chao sighed, making a face. After thinking for a moment, Lin Xinrui agreed that Wang Chao was right. They couldn't just charge forward recklessly. Then are we just going to dawdle and wait for them to surround us? Lin Xinrui felt dragging it out wasn't a solution. If they got organized, they wouldn't even have a chance to escape. Forget it. We're in this deep. Let's gamble. I don't believe they can do anything to me. I'll distract them, and you find a chance to slip away, Wang Chao said with determination, putting on a brave front. Lin Xinrui quickly grabbed his arm, trying to prevent him from acting rashly. Wang Chao, if they catch you, even if you don't die, you'll be seriously hurt. I think Bai Yu wouldn't dare do anything to me, so let me hold them off while you escape. Lin, you're trampling on a man's dignity. Wang Chao was furious, continuing, I'm a man. Would I let my woman stand in front of me to take a hit? Idiot, I'm not your woman. In the Range Rover, Bai Yu glared at the Mercedes ahead, his face twisted with a crazed smile. Do you think that kid has spotted us? He's driving all over the place. Is he scared to the point of wetting himself? Earlier, in Bai Yundao's villa, Bao Yu had indeed nearly wet himself due to Wang Chao's intimidation, so he was now thinking maliciously. The two men beside Bao Yu wore black and sunglasses, looking like classic thugs, their exposed skin covered in colorful tattoos, clearly up to no good. Bao Xiao, we're just dealing with a little driver. The boss sent us to handle this. This is too much credit for him. Either of us could take him down easily, the thug on the left scoffed. True, that kid doesn't stand a chance against you too. Once we capture him, I want to make him regret ever being a man, Bao Yu said with a cruel smile. He knew that these two were among the toughest in his brother's underground crew they could take on 10 by themselves. Watch it, it's desolate up ahead, no houses around. Let us force them to stop and deal with that kid properly. Bao Yu said excitedly as they approached the scene. Bao Xiao, no need to force them to stop, let us just ram them off the road. After flipping them, we'll drag that little driver out, the driver grinned maliciously. No. If we knock him out, it won't be any fun. I want him to feel what despair is like, Bao Yu gritted his teeth. Go for it. Bao Yu shouted. The driver complied, hitting the gas. The Range Rover roared to life, its engine revving hard. It charged at Lin Xinrui's Mercedes like a bulldozer, aiming to force her off the road. But the Mercedes didn't just sit there after swaying like a drunkard, it suddenly seemed to snap to attention. The Mercedes roared as well, matching the Range Rover's speed, refusing to be overtaken. Crash into them. Just ram right through. Bao Yu shouted wildly. The driver took Bao Yu's order seriously. As soon as he heard ram, he yanked the wheel toward the Mercedes. However, the Mercedes seemed to anticipate their intentions. At that moment, it slammed on the brakes, executing a beautiful drift to avoid the collision. The Range Rover, unable to make the sharp turn, veered toward a ditch. Just in time, the driver managed to hit the brakes. As Bao Yu and his crew let out a sigh of relief. Chapter 9, Autumn Winds Sweep the Fallen Leaves. Assistant Wang, you're quite the handsome guy, and now you've been promoted. I bet there are many girls chasing after you, right? Lin Xinrui elegantly set down her chopsticks, speaking casually. President Lin, you flatter me. Without you, there wouldn't be the me I am today. I'd rather keep working hard with you, Wang Chao replied, his words carrying a deeper meaning. The last word, hard, stirred Lin Xinrui's memories, causing her face to flush as she recalled that day's scene. Not wanting to give herself away, she pretended to take a sip of tea to mask her embarrassment. At that moment, Bai Qian's phone rang. She apologized to everyone and stepped aside to answer the call. After finishing the call, Bai Qian stood there in a daze, her face pale and her body trembling slightly. President Lin, something happened at home. I need to leave now, Bai Qian said as she returned to Lin Xinrui's side, her voice shaking. Do you need my help? Lin Xinrui asked. No, I can handle it myself, Bai Qian replied, her eyes reddening but trying to sound strong. Let Wang Chao take you home. Lin Xinrui glanced at Wang Chao, paused for a moment, and continued, I'll wait for you here. Wang Chao nodded, grabbed the car keys, and drove Bai Qian to her home. On the way, Wang Chao noticed Bai Qian was absent-minded and, feeling anxious, refrained from teasing her. They drove in silence toward the southern part of the city. Wang Chao was surprised to find that Bai Qian lived in the south too. Given her salary, she could easily afford a better place. The southern part of Yunhai was known for being chaotic with rapid urban development, countless migrant workers flooded in, making it a hub for them. The area was filled with makeshift housing, dirty surroundings, and rampant crime, with frequent gang fights. Assistant Wang, thank you. I'm here, please head back and take President Lin home early, Bai Qian said, signaling Wang Chao to stop at a dark alley. Do you need me to accompany you inside? Wang Chao looked around, feeling uneasy about the eerie environment. Bai Qian declined, no, I can go in by myself. You head back, don't keep President Lin waiting. All right, if you run into trouble, call me. Wang Chao made a phone gesture at Bai Qian. Yeah, thanks. Bai Qian replied, then quickly walked into the dark alley. Meanwhile, inside a dilapidated 3-story building where Bai Qian lived, several burly men in colorful shirts surrounded a 15 or 16-year-old boy. Xiao Ce, just 3 more minutes. If your sister doesn't show up in half an hour, don't blame me, Hu Ji, one of the men, with a tiger tattoo on his bare chest, pressed down on the boy. Hu Ji, take it easy. My sister will be here soon. The boy pleaded, gripping Hu Ji's foot to ease his pain. Bai Hu, you coward. If it weren't for your pretty sister, I would have turned you into a freak by now. Hu Ji applied pressure, causing the boy to scream in agony. Do you remember what I told you to say? Now give it a practice run. I remember. She loves me most. If I push her a little, she'll definitely agree. Bai Hu nodded repeatedly, terrified of further pain. Good. If your sister becomes my woman, then you'll be my little brother. I promise you'll live a life of luxury. Hu Ji grinned lewdly. Just then, Bai Qian rushed in, panting heavily. Seeing her brother being stepped on, she went wild, grabbing a pair of scissors from the entrance and charging at the group. You bastards! If anyone touches my brother, I'll fight you. Xiao Hu, are you all right? The men scattered, laughing wickedly. Bai Qian, you finally made it back. Hu Ji's eyes widened at the sight of Bai Qian, her body trembling from running. When your father died, he owed me 300,000. Your brother has been using drugs in my territory, racking up another 100,000. If you give me 400,000, this debt will be cleared. Xiao Hu? You're using drugs? How dare you touch that stuff? Bai Qian looked at Bai Hu in disbelief, shock, anger, and despair washing over her. With tears and snot on his face, Bai Hu cried, Sister, I didn't want to. I was tricked into trying it once, and then I couldn't stop. Bai Qian understood now her brother had fallen in with the wrong crowd. Taking a deep breath to calm herself, she looked at Hu Ji and said, Hu Ji, I'll pay you every cent I owe. I only have 200,000 today. I can get it for you right away. As for the other 200,000, please give me some time. 200,000. Too little. You know I'm not running a charity here. I have many brothers to feed. I won't leave without 400,000. I understand you two are struggling, so how about I suggest a solution? As Hu Ji spoke, he shot a glance at Bai Hu. Sister, you know Hu Ji likes you. Why not? Slap. Bai Qian angrily slapped Bai Hu. Glaring at him, she exclaimed, Xiao Hu, are you trying to sell out your sister? Has your conscience been eaten by dogs? Sister, I'm doing this for both our sakes. Following Hu Ji isn't a big deal after all. You'll have to marry someone anyway. Bai Hu fell to the ground like a stray dog, crying, Sister, if you don't help me, they'll beat me to death. If it's a matter of life and death, I'll just throw myself against the wall and die. With that, Bai Hu got up and tried to slam himself into the wall, but Bai Qian hurriedly stopped him. Once Bai Hu calmed down, Bai Qian slowly released him. Leaning against the wall, silent tears streamed down her face. Chapter 10, Serving Tea and Apologizing. Inside the silver pavilion, Qin Shou sat on the sofa, flanked by two scantily clad women. The butler, Old Li, stood in front of him, reporting. Master, we've found out the background of that kid. His name is Wang Chao. He used to be a security guard for Dongfang Group, and he was recently promoted to be Lin Xinrui's special assistant. His main job is just to drive Lin Xinrui to and from work, basically acting as her personal driver. Old Li had been the Qin family's butler for 7 or 8 years, working closely with Qin Shou's father, Qin Chusheng, and earning his trust. Although Old Li was no longer young, he was quite agile and practiced internal martial arts skillfully. A few days ago, after being startled by Wang Chao, Qin Shou requested Old Li's presence for protection, so he wouldn't feel so vulnerable when encountering Wang Chao again. My collected information shows that this kid grew up in an orphanage and served in the military. He's just a nobody. Master can vent his anger freely, beat him up or cripple him, nothing serious will happen. I'll listen to Uncle Li, break both his hands and feet. No, make that both hands and 3 feet, all of them. If I can't have women, then neither can he. He. Qin Shou chuckled coldly, his hands unconsciously squeezing the 2 women beside him. The 2 women, though pained by his grip, feigned enjoyment to please Qin Shou. Of course, master, whatever you say goes. There's a local thug named Wang Laohu in that area, with dozens of men under him. He can easily deal with a small security guard. How about we do it tomorrow night? I'll give him a heads up for a little more money. He'll definitely handle it beautifully, Old Li said, bowing slightly. Good. I'll go with you tomorrow. I want to see that kid get beaten up and have his little brothers crushed. Qin Shou's eyes sparkled with excitement. Old Li cautioned, "Master, it's better to wait for news at home. The southern area is chaotic. If something happens to you, your father will go mad." "What could happen?" "He's just a former soldier security guard. Can he fend off dozens of people?" Qin Shou dismissed the concern. Old Li thought for a moment and realized Qin Shou had a point. Even he would struggle against a group of dozens, giving Qin Shou enough time to escape. Plus, he had observed that night in the bar Wang Chao showed no signs of having practiced martial arts, which eased his worries a bit. Since the young master wanted to go, he figured it was best to let him. If we could stomp on that kid's little brothers in front of Lin Xinrui, that would be perfect. Thinking of Lin Xinrui's stunning face and perfect figure, Qin Shou felt a surge of desire. Wang Chao drove his S600, lost in thought about the recent events. Why was he so unlucky? The female police officer he had just teased turned out to be Lin Xinrui's best friend. Was that absurd? Thinking of the icy Lin Xinrui, the innocent yet sharp-witted Ji Yuling, and the hot-tempered, straightforward Han Shui, he wondered how they could possibly be friends and live peacefully under the same roof. It just didn't make sense. The more he thought about it, the more his head hurt. Han Shui was definitely no pushover. Remembering her earlier roar made Wang Chao shiver. He knew she wouldn't let him off easily, but he had no way to escape. Getting involved with such a woman seemed to spell disaster for his future. It felt like she would cling to him for life. He hadn't even done much, just taught her a little about life and maybe took a small advantage. Why was her hatred so intense? Forget it. Where there's a will, there's a way. If she dares to chase me again, I'll make sure to squash her front and flatten her back. Before long, he arrived at his rented place. An old two-story building, with the first floor cluttered with the landlord's belongings. The second floor was rented to Wang Chao, consisting of a small one-bedroom apartment. Although the environment was poor, Wang Chao preferred it to the hustle and bustle of the big city. He opened the door and stepped inside, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Someone had been here. He tensed up like a wolf ready to pounce on its prey, listening intently. The room was silent, showing no signs of life. After confirming it multiple times, he slowly approached the light switch and turned on the lights. Everything seemed to be in place, but two new items caught his eye. On a small altar in the room was a memorial tablet with 3 burning incense sticks still wafting smoke. On the coffee table lay a blood-red diamond, shining brilliantly. Yuner. Wang Chao's mind flashed to a pained face adorned with glistening tears. Seeing that only half the incense had burned, he rushed to the window, but outside was nothing but the dark night and distant sounds of revelry. Li Yun, a member of his wolf pack, his comrade and lover, they had fought side by side and shared their lives intimately. That diamond was their token of love, the most precious blood diamond from Africa. Yuner, there are things I must do. Otherwise, I'd be letting down the brothers who died and betraying my own heart. I must repay my brother's sacrifice with the enemy's blood. Wang Chao tightly gripped the diamond, feeling the sharp edges cut into his palm without noticing, his eyes dark and cold. The next morning, Wang Chao appeared punctually at Lin Xinrui's residence. To his surprise, Han Shui wasn't waiting for him downstairs with a kitchen knife as he had feared. However, when Lin Xinrui came down, Han Shui appeared on the balcony, mouthing the words, "I want to let you off." Wang Chao understood her lip movements, and with a playful finger waved towards Han Shui, he responded cheekily. Han Shui was furious. If she weren't on the 4th floor, she would have jumped down to confront Wang Chao already. Chapter 11. If you want to sleep, you can get a warm bed. Brother Chao, do you know how I can tell that you didn't do that with Yanzi last night? Liu Zi said to Wang Chao before leaving. Tell me, how did you know? Wang Chao asked in a low voice, like a thief. I saw Yanzi looking absent-minded this morning, and I went up to her and made a few jokes, but she ignored me. I even doubted whether she heard it, and I saw that her face was full of frustration. We all know that Yanzi is very interested in you. If you really had sex last night, wouldn't she be very upset today? Looking at her, I guess that nothing happened between you last night. But there is one thing that I am surprised about. You said that Yanzi drank so much last night, and Brother Chao, you are a real man, so you two shouldn't have had anything happen. Finally, I guess that Yanzi's relatives came. Liu Zi looked at Wang Chao eagerly, wanting to get an answer to see if his guess was accurate. Get lost, I'm a gentleman, can I do that? Can I take advantage of someone who's drunk and have sex with him? Just do what you need to do. Wang Chao said angrily. TSK, you're still a gentleman. Chop your little DD off and feed it to the dogs, you're not a gentleman at all. Liu Zi said disdainfully, and then ran away without waiting for Wang Chao to react. Hey, my temper. Wang Chao rolled up his sleeves, waved his fist at Liu Zi, who was looking back at the situation, and scared Liu Zi away instantly. But Wang Chao really admired Liu Zi, this guy actually guessed it almost right. Last night, Tang Ruoyan really had her period, otherwise Wang Chao would have done her at that time. Recalling the bitter last night, he had nothing to do, and when he was about to go to the small garden to sit, his mobile phone rang. Assistant Bai? What do you want to talk to me about? Wang Chao smiled after answering the phone. Come to my office. Bai Qian's voice was a little tired, and even through the radio waves, Wang Chao could hear the pain and despair in her voice, as well as the pity for her misfortune and anger at her lack of struggle. With such a brother who pits his sister, whoever meets him will be unlucky. When he came to Bai Qian's office, he saw that Bai Qian was listless, her face was very bad, and her eyes were red. It seemed that she had been crying all night. Assistant Wang, you are here, sit for a while. Seeing Wang Chao coming, Bai Qian forced herself to cheer up, let Wang Chao sit down, and then made a cup of tea for Wang Chao. Did Tiger Master do anything to you? It was really thanks to you last night, otherwise. As she spoke, Bai Qian's expression dimmed again. If it weren't for Wang Chao's appearance, she would probably have gone from a senior white-collar worker to a promiscuous person. Assistant Bai, don't worry, I have talked to Tiger Master, and he will not bother you again in the future. Wang Chao took the teacup and comforted him. Oh, how did you do it? Bai Qian looked at Wang Chao in surprise. I've seen at least 80 of those hooligans like him. When I was hanging out, he didn't even know where to play in the mud. As soon as I said something cold, he immediately admitted his weakness and didn't dare to say a word. Poochie? Bai Qian was amused by Wang Chao's vulgar words, and the gloom in her heart was mostly gone. Although she knew that the process would definitely not be so simple, she grew up in the south of the city, so how could she not know what kind of person Tiger Lord was? He did all kinds of evil and bullied men and women, and he would admit his weakness when he said something cold. But Wang Chao didn't want to say it, and she didn't know how to ask. Actually, I don't know whether it was right or wrong not to fire you. Bai Qian said faintly when she suddenly thought of something. Yes, that was the most correct decision you made in your life. Wang Chao said happily. Actually, if you think about it, you should be fired. Don't play like this, I saved your innocence. Wang Chao said so, but he was not angry. Bai Qian rolled her eyes, but she was really grateful in her heart. She has always been serious and stern, but she has a different style when she makes these little woman gestures. The ferocious Tiger Lord, with more than a dozen people, can't do anything to you. Such a person, but he comes to Dongfang Group to work as a security guard. Even if I am an idiot, I can see that it is abnormal. Bai Qian has been looking at Wang Chao to see how he reacts, but she is disappointed. Wang Chao has no reaction at all. He drinks tea and listens to her talk, as if she is talking about someone else, not him. I know you won't tell me if I ask you. I just want you to promise me not to harm Xinrui. She can't bear it. Bai Qian looked serious, then looked out the window and said faintly. 3 years ago, I came to the company and have been working with her. At that time, she was still a little girl who had just come out of the pyramid and knew nothing. But she relied on her hard work and innate talent, without relying on anyone or any relationship, to develop the Oriental Group to its current state. The hardship and sweat she paid can be imagined. You can carry a big company by yourself. After listening to Bai Qian's words, Wang Chao was surprised. In this society, there are only 2 possibilities for a woman, especially a beautiful woman, to succeed. One is that her man is very powerful, and the other is that her man is very powerful. If it is not these 2, it is impossible to get ahead. What is the old saying? Yes, it is better to marry well than to work well, and it is better to be born well than to work well. Bai Qian glanced at Wang Chao and continued, the people chasing her can line up from the Oriental Group to the north gate of Yunhai. Even if there is not a reinforced company, there is an ordinary company, and those people are either rich or noble. It is a miracle that she can resist temptation and not make mistakes. She has also endured pressure that ordinary people cannot know. Now you are the closest person to her. If you can help, help more and don't let her get hurt. This must be there. I have no other advantages, but I like to help others, especially women, and beautiful women. I can't stand beautiful women being wronged the most. Wang Chao patted his chest and promised. Chapter 12 Lace Edge. Everyone looked at Wang Chao in unison, asking for his opinion. Well, let's go back, carry him away, and throw him on the street. This boy is delicate and tender, maybe someone will pick him up. Wang Chao looked at the unconscious Qin Shou without any sympathy, and joked. Wang Lao, who nodded hurriedly, ordered his 2 men to carry Qin Shou away, and then retreated hurriedly, fearing that Han Shui would kick them. There were only Wang Chao and Han Shui in the room, staring at each other in silence. Han Shui hugged her chest with both hands, thinking about what happened just now, while Wang Chao was only concerned with admiring the scenery in front of Han Shui's chest. Isn't it beautiful? Han Shui's expression suddenly changed, from indifference to charm. Yeah. Wang Chao subconsciously nodded in agreement, his eyes still fixed on the white flower. Really? The style of the painting changed again, and Han Shui exuded a faint murderous intent. Wang Chao looked aggrieved and said, "It's really beautiful. As an honest person, I can't lie. Even if you kick me, it's still the same answer." Although he said so, Wang Chao covered the key parts and squeezed his thighs. Pervert. If it weren't for you helping me just now, I really wanted to kick you. Han Shui said coldly with a murderous look on her face. Although she knew there must be something else going on, she had no way of knowing what happened. The only thing she could be sure of was that Wang Chao saved her, otherwise, she would have been defiled by Qin Shou. Since you saved me, I won't bother you about what happened 2 days ago. Han Shui was angry when she thought of this guy taking advantage of her, but she didn't bother to argue with him and took the initiative to reconcile with Wang Chao. Wang Chao certainly had no objection. This girl was not someone to be trifled with. If she got entangled with him, he would be dead or skinned. Now that this girl took the initiative to reconcile, he couldn't ask for more. But, there is one thing you have to promise me. What is it? Wang Chao asked. Leave Dongfang Group tomorrow and don't get close to Lin Xinrui anymore. Han Shui said bitterly. Did Lin Xinrui tell you to say that? Wang Chao was stunned and asked. I said it. Han Shui replied. That won't work. You're not my boss. Why should I listen to you? Wang Chao shook his head faster than a rattle. Don't agree. Han Shui's eyes flashed. Wang Chao hurriedly replied, Of course not. Okay. Then you wait, I won't do anything else every day, I will just stare at you. If I find you committing a crime, I will arrest you and put you in the cell immediately. Han Shui gritted her teeth and swore. Wang Chao was depressed, how much hatred and resentment this was. Why do you have to make me leave Lin Xinrui? Xinrui is mine, I won't let any man defile her. Han Shui answered subconsciously. Yours. Wang Chao was dumbfounded. Is this the legendary lesbian? I actually met a lesbian. Han Shui left, but Wang Chao was depressed in the room for a long time and couldn't sleep. He couldn't figure it out, how could Han Shui, who was so beautiful and had such a good figure, become a lesbian? There were already many beauties in the world, and now there were 2 less, how could he accept this? How can men in the world feel embarrassed? Isn't this deliberately trying to put pressure on yourself? Lesbians must be lacking love. I must make her feel love and exchange my sincerity for her deep love. I must let her know that there are many things in this world that women can't do and must be done by men. I must use my strong body and gentle heart to influence her and make her a real woman. Wang Chao was determined that he would not only win a woman's heart, but also make another woman who loved her become his woman. This is his duty as a man. While Wang Chao was awake all night, there was also a group of people who were awake all night. Outside the VIP ward of Yunhai First People's Hospital, Qin Chusheng, chairman of Qin Group, was standing in the corridor restlessly. Although Qin Chusheng was nearly 50, he didn't look old at all. There was no wrinkle on his face, and his muscles were bulging. He looked like a strong man in his 30s. He had just received a notice from someone saying that Qin Shou was thrown naked on the street and his life or death was unknown. He rushed to the hospital in a hurry. At this time, a doctor walked out of the ward. Qin Chusheng hurried forward, grabbed the doctor's collar and asked, How is my son? The doctor was caught, but he did not resist or pull Qin Chusheng away. He whispered, Mr. Qin, calm down first. We checked it out. Mr. Qin should have taken a lot of aphrodisiacs and was kicked in the genitals. After our rescue, his life is not in danger for the time being, but it's AP, tell me quickly. Qin Chusheng yelled. But his function in that area may be affected a little, but we have tried our best to treat it, but I hope you can warn Mr. Qin that it is best not to do that within 3 years. The doctor tried to use a gentle tone to tell the facts. MD. Which bastard did it? Qin Chu shook the doctor away, then threw the agate beads in his other hand against the wall and cursed. Old Li, check it for me and find out the whole story. Qin Chuxing vented his anger and his mood calmed down a little. Okay, master. Old Li bowed, then turned around and took the elevator to leave. An hour and a half later, Old Li returned to the outside of the ward. At this moment, Qin Chuxing was sitting on a chair opposite the ward, staring at the door with a gloomy face. Have you found out? Yes. Old Li stood beside Qin Chuxing with his head down. He looked around and found that there was no one around, so he told Qin Chuxing about the investigation. During this period, the young master has taken a fancy to Lin Xinrui, the president of the Oriental Group, and has been trying to get him, but has been sabotaged by Lin Xinrui's driver many times. The young master found the driver's residence and took Wang Laohu, a gangster from the south of the city, to teach the driver a lesson last night. Chapter 13 Hero Wang. After a night of thinking, Wang Chao wore a tight vest on his upper body and a pair of loose beach pants on his lower body, and drove a Mercedes-Benz to pick up Lin Xinrui. When he arrived downstairs of Lin Xinrui's house, he parked the Mercedes-Benz, ran to the door of Lin Xinrui's suite and knocked. After knocking for a long time, Ji Yuling came to open the door with a dazed look on his face. Brother Budao, why are you here so early today? Wait a minute, Sister Xinrui is still washing up, I want to go to sleep again. Ji Yuling half closed his eyes and saw that it was Wang Chao, then turned around and walked to his room. Wang Chao looked depressed. Didn't Ji Yuling realize that his outfit today was full of masculine aura? Why didn't he fall for him? Linga, don't rush to leave. Don't you realize that I, your brother, am a special man today? As he spoke, Wang Chao acted like a bodybuilder. Ji Yuling kept his head down, turned around impatiently, and glanced at Wang Chao. Brother Budao, I want to criticize you. You are my sister Xinrui's driver, but you wear clothes that expose your arms and thighs. Can't you dress better? Oh. Wang Chao was choked by Ji Yuling's words, staggered, and almost fell to the ground. Sister Linga, don't you see the strength of my exposed arms and the muscular thighs? Isn't it full of masculine beauty? Are you moved after seeing it? Adjusting his interest, Wang Chao continued to pose like a bodybuilder and threw a coquettish eye at Ji Yuling. Masculine beauty? I don't think so. You said I have seen your little DD, and then look at those big hairy legs, what's so exciting? Ji Yuling rolled her eyes and said. Seeing Wang Chao almost falling down again and wanting to say something else, Ji Yuling hurriedly stopped him and said. Okay, I don't have any feelings for you, but if my sister Han sees it, she may not only be moved, but also take action. This made Wang Chao feel refreshed. Does it seem that there is still hope? Ji Yuling, this little girl, has said so. I can definitely conquer Han Shui, the lesbian. It's just that Wang Chao misunderstood Ji Yuling's meaning. Ji Yuling's focus is not on the heartbeat, but on the action of fists and feet. After saying that, Ji Yuling ignored Wang Chao again. Wang Chao did not stop Ji Yuling anymore. His goal today was the lesbian goddess Han Shui. He wanted to show his masculinity and let Han Shui change her orientation and fall in love with his big pants. Thinking about it, Wang Chao stood opposite the door of Han Shui's room with a smug look on his face, put on a pause, and waited quietly for Han Shui to come out. At this time, Han Shui walked out with a teacup. It seemed that she had just gotten up and wanted to drink tea. Looking up and seeing Wang Chao's strange dress, Han Shui frowned and asked, Wang Chao, what are you doing? Do you think my house is a catwalk? Wang Chao shook his head and said coolly, look at my strong muscles, solid chest muscles, and broad shoulders. Han Shui, aren't you tempted? Touched. Han Shui narrowed her eyes slightly, exuding murderous intent, and then said, not only tempted, I also want to do it. Since you are so eager, I will be wronged. Come on baby. Wang Chao straightened his chest, closed his eyes, and waited for Han Shui to throw himself into his arms. Get out of here right now, otherwise, I will not only hit you, but also kick you. Han Shui resisted the urge to hit Wang Chao, holding the cup tightly with both hands, and veins popped. Wang Chao looked indifferent and said, are you worried or afraid? Are you worried that Xinrui will be attracted by my strong masculinity and open her heart to me completely? If you dare to let Xinrui see you like this, I will never forgive you. Han Shui gritted her teeth and threw the cup in her hand at Wang Chao's head. Wang Chao looked casual. When the cup was about to reach him, he caught it with lightning speed and said, "It seems that I have no common language with a lesbian like you. I'd better let my good Xinrui appreciate my charm." "Say it again, what am I?" Han Shui's eyes were blazing with fire, and the flames of anger were burning on her head. "Lace? Aren't you? How about letting Xinrui come out and have a good talk?" Wang Chao raised his voice slightly. "This bastard." Han Shui cursed in a low voice, with a nervous look on her face, and she dared not speak. Oh. Wang Chao approached Han Shui and whispered, "So you are lesbian, but our general manager Lin doesn't know about it yet. It's not your fault. Although most people in this world are very open, many people can't accept new things like lesbians. No wonder you are so scared. Are you afraid that General Manager Lin will run away immediately after knowing it?" Han Shui gritted her teeth, but did not refute. It seems that Wang Chao hit the nail on the head. "Okay, as long as you behave yourself in the future and don't yell at me, I will help you keep the secret. How about it, is this a good deal?" Wang Chao approached Han Shui and smiled slyly. "You bastard, who needs you to keep a secret from me? You actually dare to threaten me?" Han Shui stared at Wang Chao. If eyes could kill, I believe Wang Chao would have been whipped 100 times. "Threatening you? I threatened you, what can you do to me? Since you don't need me to keep a secret, I'll go to our CEO Lin and tell him about it." "You bastard, don't go." Han Shui grabbed Wang Chao, who was about to go to the bathroom, and cursed. "You said no, but I'm going to go. CEO Lin, are you ready? Come out, I have a little secret to tell you." Wang Chao shouted towards the bathroom. Han Shui's heart skipped a beat, thinking it was not good. She knew Lin Xinrui too well. If Lin Xinrui knew that she was a lesbian and that the object of her secret love was her, she would definitely run away. Chapter 14: Encountering Blackmail. "CEO Lin, don't look at me like that. If you don't believe me, ask Han Shui if what I said is true. How can an honest person like me lie?" Wang Chao looked aggrieved and pulled Han Shui to testify for him. Han Shui wanted to die. She knew that this bastard was shameless, but she didn't expect him to be so shameless. "Okay, I have an important meeting to attend later. You go downstairs and wait. I'll be there soon." Lin Xinrui didn't let Wang Chao continue to make trouble. She originally planned to let Wang Chao go home to change his non-mainstream clothes, but after looking at the time, she found that it was almost too late, so she didn't say it and went back to the room to change clothes. Wang Chao whistled and walked out of the room, with an arrogant look on his face. "Don't let me catch you, you bastard, otherwise, I'll make you look good." Han Shui stared at Wang Chao's back and said hatefully. In the car, Lin Xinrui has been focusing on the documents in her hand. It has been almost 3 years. Although the Oriental Group has developed rapidly and has become a major taxpayer in Yunhai City, its scale has continued to grow, creating an incredible legend. But this is far from enough. Looking at the documents in her hand, Lin Xinrui frowned and looked unhappy. If she only relied on her current achievements, the day she agreed with her father would be the day she surrendered. "Boss Lin, don't keep frowning. It's written in the books that women like this age quickly." Wang Chao saw Lin Xinrui's expression and advised. "Don't worry about it. Drive your car well." Lin Xinrui said coldly. She still hated Wang Chao for taking her body. Besides, even if she told this guy about her troubles, he couldn't help her. "Boss Lin, it's boring to sit there anyway. How about I tell you a joke?" Wang Chao didn't get annoyed and continued to talk. "What good jokes can you tell? Shut up and concentrate on driving." Speaking of jokes, Lin Xinrui's heart was furious again. This guy actually dared to bring it up. When Han Shui was at home, she hesitated to speak, so she suspected that Wang Chao took advantage of Han Shui. "Wang Chao, can you do something serious instead of flirting with other girls all day long?" She frowned slightly. Wang Chao felt so wronged. He explained, "I am innocent. How could I, a pure boy, flirt with other girls? I have been seduced, okay." Bullshit, telling dirty jokes to Wanner, taking advantage of Bing Bing, all of this was seduced. Lin Xinrui, who never swears, couldn't help but swear, which shows how angry she is. This guy not only didn't reflect on himself, but also dared to distort the facts. Besides, even if he flirted with other girls, he shouldn't flirt with my bestie. Go my own way, let others talk, anyway, I am innocent. Wang Chao said indifferently. Huh. Lin Xinrui took a deep breath and decided not to pay attention to Wang Chao, the bastard. If she took him seriously, she would always be the one who got hurt. If she hadn't used him as a shield to fend off the pursuit of those young masters, she would have kicked Wang Chao out of the company long ago and turned a blind eye to him. All the way in silence, no matter how much Wang Chao teased her, Lin Xinrui ignored him. In the end, Wang Chao could only concentrate on driving, and soon arrived at the company. After he dropped Lin Xinrui off at the bottom of her office building, Wang Chao waited for Lin Xinrui's back, twisting her little butt, to disappear. Then he parked the car with a lingering feeling, and then began to wander around the company. Just when he wandered to the security lounge, he heard a loud noise coming from inside. That bunch of bastards actually bullied us to the point of being bullied. They really don't treat our Dongfang Group security guards as dry food. That's right. After all, we have a relationship with President Lin. We have to go to her to show off. Don't be so loud. Look at the appearance of those people. They are gangsters. If we offend them, we will have a hard time in the future. Eat the emperor's salary and be loyal to the emperor. Even if they are gangsters, we have to do this job after receiving the money. I think we should call the police. Calling the police is useless. These people are all old hands. They are not afraid of approaching the cell. Wang Chao had just arrived at the company and had no idea what they were talking about. As soon as he appeared in front of the group of security guards, Lao Shu, Liu Zi and others surrounded him. You and I talked about what happened just now. Before work, a dozen hooligans with dragon and phoenix patterns rushed into the Oriental Group, saying that one of their brothers was injured by our people, and came to President Lin to discuss compensation, and warned that if compensation was not paid, the Oriental Group would not be able to do business in peace in the future. Brother Chao, these people are in the conference room now. Suer has brought another group of brothers over. Do you think we should go over and take a look? Wang Chao frowned and had an answer in his mind. It must be someone from Julongbang. At Bai Yintao's cocktail party, he beat Bao Yu and later knocked over their Land Rover. Lin Xinrui said that Bao Yu had a brother who was a senior executive of Julongbang. I'll go over and see what's going on. Wang Chao immediately made a decision and walked out. Let's go, follow Brother Chao. Mouse and others also followed Wang Chao indignantly. This immortal has read a fortune and knows that Brother Chao will not ignore it. Liuzi shook his big head and said mysteriously. At this time, in the large conference room on the 16th floor, Lin Xinrui stood at the door angrily, looking at the dozen hooligans inside. Her face was ashen with anger. These hooligans were scattered in various corners of the conference room, sitting in all directions, with cigarettes in their mouths, making the conference room smoky. All those who came to attend the meeting stood outside the door, not daring to go in, and whispering from time to time. Where are the security guards? Get these people out. Lin Xinrui shouted at the door. A fat man with a bloated head and a big head came in front of Lin Xinrui. This man was Su Er, the manager of the security department. Chapter 15. Let's compete with the crowd. You. Lin Xinrui was so angry at Bao Wei's words that she wanted to lose her temper, but she couldn't. During this period, she was discussing the big project with Long Yu Group. If Bai Wei really let her make trouble in the company, she would not be able to concentrate on her work. And there are idle people in the company every day, which is also a big blow to the reputation of Dongfang Group. Blackmail, this is naked blackmail. Lin Xinrui gritted her teeth and said. Bai Wei pulled the corner of his mouth slightly, pulling out a wicked smile, and said, if Mr. Lin understands it this way, I don't care. Blackmail or compensation doesn't matter, I just want to get the money, 3 million, not a penny less. Lin Xinrui had no way to deal with this kind of scoundrel. 3 million is not a lot, Mr. Lin, let's agree. The scene was deadlocked, and Wang Chao, wearing a small vest and beach pants, walked in unsteadily, followed by a group of mice holding brooms and mops. 3 million is not much, but it is money. Mr. Lin, we still agreed to this, big brother. Wang Chao's words were like a deep-sea bomb, causing the people outside to discuss loudly. Lin Xinrui also looked at Wang Chao in disbelief, wondering if Wang Chao was drunk this morning and actually said such a thing. 3 million is indeed not a lot for Lin Xinrui, but after this hole is opened, she will have to face countless scoundrels like Bowie. They will all swarm towards the Oriental group as if they smelled rotten meat. When the time comes, one will come to make trouble and ask for some money, and the other will come to make a scene and give some money. The Oriental group will no longer need to do business, but just be a cash machine for scoundrels. Wang Chao, you can't agree to it. They are here to blackmail us. You can't open this hole. Yes, Brother Chao, there are only a dozen people. We will fight them. The 6 rats behind him all roared angrily. Har har, this brother still sees the situation clearly. You are Lin Xinrui's driver, Wang Chao, right? The words of Liu Zi and others just now let Bai Wei know that the young man in front of him was Wang Chao who beat his brother. He originally planned to teach him a lesson, but he didn't expect that this kid could see the situation clearly and acted as a lobbyist for himself. Bai Wei immediately felt that Wang Chao was a little cute. Yes, big brother, I am Wang Chao. Wang Chao grinned, stretched out his hand, and said with a smile, since this big brother has agreed, then pay the money immediately. Our General Manager Lin still has to hold a meeting here. If you delay General Manager Lin's time, the amount of compensation will have to go up again. Although I also know that with the big brother's worth, he doesn't care about such a small amount of money, but no matter how little it is, it's still money, right? Save as much as you can. Pay money? Bai Wei was stunned, Lin Xinrui was stunned, and everyone present was stunned. What is Wang Chao singing? Isn't he going to give Bai Wei money? How come it's all changed and it's now asking Bai Wei for money? Don't look at me with such admiration, okay? I'll be shy. Wang Chao pretended to be shy, and then said seriously. Yesterday, that idiot Bao Yu drove his car and deliberately blocked in front of our car, causing a big hole in Mr. Lin's car. I almost had a heart attack. Shouldn't he make some compensation? Boy, you're teasing me, right? Bai Wei's face was gloomy, staring at Wang Chao coldly. Why should I tease you? You might as well play with mud. What's so fun about you? Don't talk nonsense. Your idiot brother was wrong first. Are you going to compensate him? Wang Chao rolled his eyes at Bai Wei and said coldly. Listening to Wang Chao calling his brother an idiot, Bai Wei felt his face burning, and it was Wang Chao who slapped him hard. I told you that I've read your fortune, Brother Chao will never give in to evil forces. Now look at that guy's face, it's almost slapped by our Brother Chao. Liu Zi grinned, showing everyone Bai Wei's face covered in bruises. Okay, you have guts. Are you eloquent? Are you confusing right and wrong? Are you trying to be a hero and save the beauty? Sure. Lin Xinrui, Wang Chao, I'll play with you slowly. Bai Wei's body was burning with anger. Since Wang Chao and others are more rogue than him, he will let them see if they can really bear the consequences. How can these decent businessmen be more rogue than these street thugs? This guy hasn't given in yet, we can't let them go, let them sign and seal. Lao Shu and the others all surrounded him, not letting Bai Wei and others leave. Since they have fought to the door, if they let the other party leave intact, it would be too embarrassing for their identity as security guards. But only a few of them were roaring in the field. The other security guards, led by Su all stood aside timidly, not daring to step forward. They had already made way for Bai Wei and others to leave. You won't let us go. That's fine, I'll stay here. Bai Wei sneered, and sat down again after standing up. His men followed suit and sat back in their seats. Brother, let's talk it over, right? If we can avoid fighting, we shouldn't fight. Wang Chao smiled flatteringly and said, I think there should be a misunderstanding between us. How about this? Brother Bao, let's go out and talk privately. If you are worried that I will do something dirty, we can go to your territory, let's go to the south of the city, how about it? Sure, I'll see if you can come up with a flower. Bao Wei smiled coldly and said. Bao Wei led the way, Wang Chao followed behind, and many younger brothers followed behind. At this time, Wang Chao looked like a prisoner being escorted. Originally, Lao Shu and others were going to follow, but Wang Chao stopped them. Before Wang Chao left, Lin Xinrui hesitated for a long time, and finally said to Wang Chao with concern, be careful, if the situation is not right, run immediately. I was originally a security guard. Although I have been promoted now, I am still a security guard in my bones, a security guard who takes the security of the Oriental Group as his own responsibility. Don't worry, I will be fine. I am still thinking about coming back to capture your heart and unlock more qualifications in the book, hee hee. Wang Chao leaned against Lin Xinrui's ear and smiled slyly. Chapter 16 Fighting for a Future. Wang Chao stood in the encirclement of the crowd, stretched out his hands, and clapped them gently. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound around. Heads popped out from the corners of the house, the roofs, and the street entrances. The scene was reversed again. These people surrounded Bowie's people tightly. At the leader of these people was Wang Laohu. "Har, kid, the helper you found is Wang Laohu." Bowie laughed and glanced at Wang Laohu with disdain in his eyes. "Wang Chao, you just found such a group of people. If you say my name, most of them will be scared to death." Bowie glanced at Wang Laohu's people outside the field, his eyes full of threats. In the shanty towns in the south of the city, there are all kinds of people, and the underground forces are countless. Wang Laohu's group is not even an underground force. At most, they are a group of gangsters. They rely on a few of the poorest streets to open a small gambling stall, lend some usury, and have a few entertainment venues to make ends meet. They are simply not a mainstream existence. Poison Dragon Bang is a real underground force. Bowie now has the best resources and a fixed source of money. If we compare Bai Wei and Wang Laohu, it is no exaggeration to say that there is a world of difference between them. Usually, when Wang Laohu saw Bai Wei, even if he came forward to say hello, Bai Wei would not respond. "I didn't expect that Wang Chao, this kid, would actually find such a group of people. Do they dare to attack me? Brother Chao, what's going on? Isn't this a flood that has washed away the Dragon King Temple?" Wang Laohu also saw Bai Wei and was trembling in his heart. Of course, he knew Bai Wei and knew what kind of person Bai Wei was. He is the head of the south branch of Julongbang City, and he can kill his people in a minute. How did Brother Chao get involved with this evil star? But Brother Chao is not someone who is easy to mess with. This is completely like Mars hitting the earth, there will be a big collision. When Wang Laohu's men heard the name of Bai Wei, they all trembled slightly. Even in the face of Bai Wei's contempt, they did not dare to refute a word. In the south of the city, going against Bowie is like lighting a lamp in a toilet, it's like looking for death. Brother Chao, is there any misunderstanding here? Fighting and killing hurts the harmony. Let's sit down and talk it out in my place. Wang Laohu said humbly. Although he knew that with the personalities of the two people, it was unlikely to be reconciled, but he still made efforts. After all, he was now the sandwich between the two. If he offended either side, he would not end well. Before Wang Chao answered, Bowie did not give Wang Laohu face at all, and shouted coldly, "Talk about peace, Wang Laohu, if you don't want to die, get out of here immediately. Look, classmate Xiaohu, you treat people as friends, but people treat you as a dog. You are too miserable." Wang Laohu felt that his face was thrown to the ground by Bowie fiercely, and he sipped it hard. Even a clay man would be angry. He was a little angry. "I'll give you 3 counts. If you don't get out, you will bear the consequences," Bowie said coldly, and his men all tightened their weapons, with malicious looks on their faces. Although Wang Laohu had the advantage in numbers, Bowie didn't care at all. "MD, since this is the case, there is nothing to say. I have to fight for my dignity even if I don't want to make a profit. Today, I, Wang Laohu, will give up my 100 pounds of fat and fight with you, Poison Dragon Bang." Wang Laohu was completely enraged by Bowie's disdain, and shouted to Wang Chao, "Brother Chao, today, if you give the order, we will fight with the kid." Wang Chao nodded slightly. It seems that Wang Laohu is not a complete coward, but still has some blood. "Xiaohu classmate, you don't think I asked you to come here today to trick you, right?" Wang Chao asked from a distance. Wang Laohu was stunned. He did think so just now. He also had the intention of blaming Wang Chao in his heart, but he didn't expect Wang Chao to say it out loud. He didn't know how to answer for a moment. "Let me make it clear to you. Whether you come today or not, your life will definitely be in danger within a week. Don't think I'm joking. Have you ever thought in your heart that the people of the Qin Group, with so many powerful forces, chose to find a small gangster like you to deal with me?" Wang Chao said slowly. Wang Laohu's heart skipped a beat. He really hadn't thought of this, but he was also a wise man and immediately knew what Wang Chao meant. Qin Group is a well-known enterprise in Yunhai after all. It has complicated relationships in both the black and white worlds and has close ties with several major underground forces in Yunhai City. There is no need to ask Hu Xiaogang, a force that is not in the mainstream, to do things. Since Wang Lao Hu was asked to deal with Wang Chao, the reason was very obvious. It was to cross the river and destroy the bridge. If Wang Lao Hu didn't accomplish this, it had nothing to do with their Qin group. If they didn't accomplish this, it wouldn't take much effort for the Qin group to deal with Wang Lao Hu. Thinking of this, Wang Lao Hu was angry. He didn't expect that the Qin group was so vicious that not only wanted to make him the blame, but also wanted to take the lives of all the people in Huxiaogang. Wang Chao glanced at Wang Lao Hu and said, "You are not a brainless person to understand it so quickly. It's useless to be dissatisfied. They are powerful and you can't do anything about it. After all, the iron must be strong before it can be forged. You can resist, but you must be prepared to fail. Now I give you a chance to resist. All the elites in the south of Julongbang are here. As long as you destroy them all here today, you will have a chance to take over their territory and recruit more people. As long as you are strong, I believe the Qin group will not dare to mess around. Kill the national treasure, and you will be a panda. Tiger classmate, what will you choose?" Wang Chao secretly admired his eloquence. If he participated in the I Am a Speaker, he might get the first place. Chapter 17 Directly disabled. Cripple, you bastard, you used to rely on being with Bowie and didn't take us brothers seriously, and you spoke in a weird way. Today I'm going to break your other leg. Wang Laowu, you want to snatch the girl I just got, and you humiliate me in front of her. Today I must crush your balls. NMB dog, I let you be arrogant. Didn't you always pat my head and ask me to be honest? Today I'll make you be honest. It can be seen from this that Wang Laowu and his group were often oppressed by Julongbang in normal times. Now that the people of the Tiger Raw Gang have taken action, they all cursed and rushed forward, looking like they were taking revenge and complaining. However, the people of Julongbang were not at a disadvantage at all, and they even organized an effective counterattack, which fully consumed the opponent's strength. From beginning to end, Bowie just watched coldly from the side, without taking action, as if it had nothing to do with him. From the side, we can also see his confidence and fearlessness. Wang Chao saw the battle situation in the field and his brows gradually frowned. In the short term, Wang Lao Hu had the upper hand, but Wang Chao knew that if the situation continued like this, Wang Lao Hu and others would definitely lose. After all, the strength of the two sides was not equal at all. As time went on, the situation in the field gradually developed in the direction of what Wang Chao had in mind. As for the people of Julongbang, they became more and more courageous, while the Tiger Raw Gang became more and more chaotic. HMPH, trash is trash, do you really think you are a big shot? Bowie stood on the sidelines and said disdainfully. He knew the people he brought very well, and he knew what kind of people Wang Lao Hu and his group were, so he was not worried at all. Bowie, I will fight you for a few moves. Wang Lao Hu also knew that the situation was not favorable to his side. If this situation continued, not only would his brother suffer, but he would also suffer. If Bowie is not left here, there will be no place for Wang Lao Hu to stand in the south of the city. In order to survive, Wang Lao Hu is also fighting. Now there is only one chance, to catch the thief first. Wang Lao Hu shook off an opponent beside him and rushed over with a roar. Wang Lao Hu, with your two moves, you dare to fight with me. I think you are looking for death. After Bowie finished speaking, he also rushed towards Wang Lao Hu. As the boss, Wang Lao Hu is the best among this group of bastards. He has been in the military camp for a few years. Although he is just a cook, his daily job is to take a spatula and cook for a group of men, but he has not fallen behind in the training in the military camp, and his physical fitness is also good. But compared with Bowie, his skills are still not up to par. After all, Bowie has fought in black boxing and has truly experienced life and death. Whether it is the speed, strength or angle of the shot, he is no match for humans. As soon as they started fighting, Wang Lao Hu suffered a great loss. Bowie avoided Wang Lao Hu's knife and punched him under the armpit, making his right hand holding the knife completely powerless. With no strength in his right hand, Wang Lao Hu was completely at a disadvantage, like a lamb to be slaughtered, letting Bowie do whatever he wanted. Bowie hit Wang Lao Hu's chest with a stick on, making Wang Lao Hu feel chest tightness and even unable to breathe. Then Bowie took advantage of the situation and threw Wang Lao Hu to the ground, pulled Wang Lao Hu's weak right hand and spun him. With a click sound. Wang Lao Hu's right hand was dislocated immediately, but he was also tough and endured the pain. When Bowie wanted to punch him again, he rolled over and dodged. Waste, don't try to be a hero. Seeing Wang Lao Hu retreating far away, Bowie did not chase him and said disdainfully, "I will fight you." Wang Lao Hu's eyes turned red and he was about to rush up and fight. There is no man who would not fight back under such humiliation. Even if he knew the result would still be failure, he had to go. "Okay, Tiger, take a break first, I'll meet this guy." Wang Chao grabbed Wang Lao Hu, shook his hands, stretched his legs, twisted his waist, and walked up in a very unserious manner. Seeing that Wang Chao was about to attack, Wang Lao Hu was delighted. Of course he would not pretend to be arrogant, and slowly stepped back. He knew Wang Chao's skills, and he had suffered a loss at the hands of this gentleman. And that loss was that he had no strength to resist at all. "Little driver, I think you are looking for death." Bao Wei was happy. Just such a little driver dared to say that he wanted to fight with him. I'll see if he didn't beat him so hard that he wouldn't even recognize his mother. He didn't take Wang Chao seriously at all, and walked towards Wang Chao casually, wanting to quickly deal with Wang Chao, and then join the battle circle of his men to completely solve today's matter. About 3 meters away from Wang Chao, he rushed forward, approached Wang Chao quickly, raised his right fist, and hit Wang Chao's eye socket. "Why don't you take the driver seriously? Today I'll show you that once the driver gets angry, you can't stop him." Wang Chao was angry, and he didn't dodge Bao Wei's fist, but raised his fist to meet him. Bao Wei's eyes were full of surprise. This little driver dared to fight with him. After the surprise, his face was full of excitement. He seemed to hear the sound of Wang Chao's hand bones breaking. This kid is too proud of his life. Die. Bao Wei used all his strength on his fist and rushed towards Wang Chao's fist. Bang! The two fists collided firmly, and neither of them dodged. Time seemed to stop flowing. Gidge! A sound of bone fracture came out, and Bao Wei's face was full of shock. He screamed and flew backwards and fell on the open space beside him. After landing, Bowie's face was pale, his right hand was weak, and the severe pain spread to his brain, making him scream. "R. Impossible." He looked at Wang Chao in shock with disbelief on his face. Not only were all the bones in his hand broken, but the bones in his entire forearm were also completely shattered. How strong is this kid? Even those tall and strong foreigners who won by strength in foreign countries before did not have such great strength. Chapter 18, Reaching the Pinnacle of Life. When Wang Chao said that he would break Bowie's limbs, his tone was very cold and his expression was very calm, as if for him, this was just a small matter and could not cause any fluctuations in his emotions. But everyone present did not think so, and everyone had an idea in their hearts. This person is a devil. For this group of bastards, sometimes they would break people's hands and feet, but it was unique to say it so calmly. They just stared at Wang Chao, who was in his 20s, standing there calmly, and everyone was afraid. Is what I said useless? Wang Chao turned his head, glanced at everyone, and then said to Wang Lao Hu indifferently, "How can it be useless? Let's do it right away." Until this moment, Wang Lao Hu had completely surrendered to Wang Chao. Wang Chao's indifference to human life made him afraid. Then he picked up an iron rod from the side and walked towards Bao Wei. Bao Wei was stupid, really stupid. After rolling around in the underworld for so many years, he had cut off people's hands and feet, but he would only do so after a life and death feud. Normally, none of them would do such a cruel thing. This was the first time he had seen someone so cruel, cutting off people's limbs at any time. "Brother Chao, Grandpa Chao, ancestor, please forgive me, forgive me. I promise not to trouble you in the future. You treat me as a piece of shit, just let me go." Fear occupied Bao Wei's heart, making him scream and beg for mercy, hoping that Wang Chao would stop. He was really scared. The arrogant Bao Wei was scared. Under the threat of being a cripple, he chose to compromise. It's too late. When you decided to help your brother avenge me, when you took people to blackmail Lin Xinrui, when you said that you would make Dongfang Group never peaceful, this result was doomed. I will not let a person with hatred live freely in this world. People must always be responsible for their words and deeds, and be prepared to pay the price. If others do not offend me, I will not offend others. If others offend me, I will crush them to ashes. This is my rule. Now this is my territory, and I have to follow my rules. Wang Chao's tone was flat, but his words were full of murderous intent, and there was no room for easing. Bowie's face turned pale, he stopped begging for mercy, staring blankly at the blue sky and white clouds, not knowing what he was thinking. Wang Lao, who swung the iron rod in his hand down and smashed Bowie's hands, first from the palm, then the forearm, and then the upper arm, until Bowie's hands were bloody and the bones were broken. Then it was Bowie's legs, starting from the feet, then the calves, and then the thighs. The sound of bones breaking and Bowie's screams reached the ears of everyone present, making everyone stare at Bowie blankly with fear in their eyes. Brother Chao is right, since it has begun, there is no room for turning back. Brothers, we will follow Brother Chao in the future. One day, we can become the king of this land, eat delicious food, drink spicy drinks, and sleep with the most beautiful girls. After completely crippling Bowie's limbs, Wang Lao, who threw away the blood-stained iron rod, regardless of the blood on his hands and face, and shouted loudly, "Yes, after this job, we will have a good life and no longer be depressed. Raw. Good life, good drinks, no longer be depressed." All Wang Lao whose brothers agreed with Wang Lao whose words and shouted, "Brother Chao, you will be our boss in the future, right?" Wang Lao who walked back to Wang Chao and said to him eagerly. Wang Chao shook his head and refused, "You should know that I am just a small driver, and Lao who is your big brother. Of course, I let you go on this road, and I will not ignore it. If you have any trouble, just come to me." He was tired of the days of killing all day long. Now that he finally got out of it, how could he fall into this kind of life again? But as a spice of life, it is still okay to do it occasionally. Since Brother Chao said so, we can't force it, but Brother Chao, remember, we will always be your little brothers. As long as you say one word, my 100 pounds of fat will be yours. After listening to Wang Chao's words, Wang Lao who knew that Wang Chao didn't want to get too involved in their world, so he didn't force it. "Brother Chao, what about those people?" One of Wang Lao whose little brothers asked, looking at the remaining people of the Poison Dragon gang. Bo Wei had fainted, and even if he woke up, he would be a useless person, but the dozen or so good players he brought with him were still on the field. Although everyone was injured, they would recover after a few days of rest. Wang Chao glanced at the group of people indifferently. When they came into contact with Wang Chao's sight, the group of people shuddered involuntarily and didn't dare to look directly at Wang Chao. Some timid people even got their crotches wet. Wang Chao didn't like this feeling very much. He was tired of controlling the life and death of others, but Wang Lao who and the members of the Tiger Roar gang all looked at him for advice, and he had to make a decision. Walking in front of the group of people, Wang Chao said coldly, "Either you end up like Bowie, or you follow Wang Lao who, you decide for yourself. Those who are involved in underground forces are not fools. They will definitely choose such a simple choice. Brother Chao, I have several bars and KTVs that can be directly transferred to Tiger Lord. Brother Chao, I am Bowie's financial manager. I know all his bank accounts and passwords. I will take Tiger Lord to withdraw the money immediately. Brother Chao, I know where Bowie's private money is hidden. I will take Tiger Lord to dig out the money immediately." Dozens of tall and strong men came forward flatteringly to express their sincerity. Some even swore that if they betrayed Wang Chao, they would be struck by lightning. "That's more like it." Wang Chao nodded with satisfaction and continued, "I will trust you this time. You don't have to swear or swear. Those things are really useless. If someone really dares to betray me, I can say this, I will find you even at the ends of the earth, and make you live a life worse than death." Chapter 19 Driver becomes interviewer. "Boss Lin, you said I saved you 3 million, can you give me some benefits?" Wang Chao broke the silence with a sly smile. When it comes to benefits, Lin Xinrui remembered the scene that night when Wang Chao held her in his arms and kissed her fiercely. Her face turned red and she glanced at Wang Chao fiercely, but she was quite charming. "Benefits? Isn't this all your fault?" Lin Xinrui stabilized her emotions and said coldly. "Boss Lin, you are wrong to say that. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? During this period, I have been by your side. Not to mention working like a cow or a horse, but accompanying you to eat, sleep and play is not wrong, right? As soon as the rooster crows, I get up. The old dog goes home to lie down, but I am still working with you. It's okay if you don't reward me, but you still say this to me." Wang Chao said aggrievedly. "Benefits? You are the one who caused this." Lin Xinrui said coldly. "Boss Lin, you are wrong to say that. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? During this period, I have been by your side. Not to mention working like a cow or a horse, but accompanying you to eat, sleep and play is not wrong. As soon as the rooster crows, I get up. The old dog goes home to lie down, but I am still working with you. It's okay if you don't reward me, but you still say this to me. Wang Chao said aggrievedly. Benefits? You are the one who caused this. Lin Xinrui said cold. Lin Xinrui's face turned red again, her eyes narrowed, and she said, What are you talking about? Did I ask you to eat, sleep and play with me? If you keep talking nonsense, I'll tear your mouth. Lin Xinrui's scolding was shy and angry, her face was pink, and she was instantly attractive. Bai Qian looked at the strange Lin Xinrui thoughtfully, and then looked at Wang Chao. I spoke quickly, of course I didn't sleep with you every day, only that one time. Wang Chao hurriedly explained, but the more he explained, the worse it was. Wang Chao, you dare to talk nonsense to me, get out of here right now. After stealing a glance at Bai Qian, Lin Xinrui shouted at Wang Chao seriously. No. After saying that, Wang Chao made a zipper-up gesture on his mouth. Wang Chao, tell me, how did you talk to Bai and his group? Will they come to make trouble again in the future? Lin Xinrui asked, but she didn't hear Wang Chao's answer for a long time. She looked at Wang Chao, but Wang Chao pointed at her mouth, indicating that his mouth was zipped up now and she couldn't speak. You bastard, I told you not to talk nonsense, not to stop you from talking. Lin Xinrui kicked her feet hard and cursed. Ha! Wang Chao let out a long breath, and then complained, Boss Lin, you should express your meaning more clearly in the future. I almost suffocated to death. Lin Xinrui narrowed her eyes slightly, and anger slowly climbed up her face. Wang Chao also knew that he couldn't tease her anymore, otherwise, Lin Xinrui would get angry. After a few words, I fought with them. Later, I shook my body, and these guys were all scared by my domineering aura, and they didn't dare to make trouble in the future. Wang Chao said arrogantly. Lin Xinrui sighed and rolled her eyes. She found that she couldn't communicate well with Wang Chao. You mean, you beat more than a dozen of them by yourself? Let me see if there is a bull flying in the sky. While speaking, he pretended to walk to the window and looked up at the sky, with a serious face. Boss Lin, can't you give me some face and let me pretend? I finally have a bull to brag about, but you just broke it. Wang Chao complained. As Lin Xinrui looked at him coldly again, Wang Chao continued, I'll tell you the truth. I broke up with Bai. They insisted that we take out 3 million. Of course, I refused. Seeing that it was really impossible, I happened to know a gangster leader named Wang Lao who in the south of the city. I immediately asked him to call people to beat up Bai and his people, and those people admitted defeat obediently. Wang Lao who? Bai Qian didn't believe Wang Chao's words at all. She looked at Wang Chao, who was serious and pretentious, with curiosity and interest in her eyes. Lin Xinrui didn't know what the situation was in the south of the city, but she had lived there for so long and knew everything about it. Wang Lao who was just a scoundrel at best, while Bai was a serious and powerful force. The two were not in the same league at all. Wang Lao who could deal with Bai? He was just kidding. Well, since the matter has been settled, I don't have to worry about it. Lin Xinrui nodded and said, and her worries were put down. Although in this society, scoundrels can never be on the stage, and for large enterprises like them, there is no need to be afraid, but if they are really entangled by this group of scoundrels, it will be a troublesome thing. By the way, Sister Bai, the manager of our security department is called Su'er, right? Although Wang Chao came from the security department, he had not been in Dongfang Group for a long time and had only met Su'er once when he joined the company. He was not very familiar with this person, so he asked. As soon as he mentioned it, Bai Qian and Lin Xinrui's faces suddenly flashed with anger. It's called Su'er, Mr. Lin, I think we should just fire this person. With such a manager, how can the employees of our Dongfang Group work with peace of mind? It's not about firing this person, but firing all the security guards who didn't dare to show up just now. Wang Chao frowned. Lin Xinrui nodded, looked at Bai Qian, and said, find a reliable person to interview. It's better to leave it empty than to let incompetent people occupy the position. Bai Qian nodded and agreed, saying, Mr. Lin, why don't you let Special Assistant Wang host this interview? Him? Is it okay? Lin Xinrui was stunned. Me? Wang Chao pointed at his face in surprise, and then objected, no, I can't do this, I'm just a driver. Boss Lin, in fact, Assistant Wang has been in office for a while, and the Human Resources Department has several big projects on hand. There must be no suitable and reliable candidates. Besides, Assistant Wang himself is a security guard, and he is familiar with the job. Yeah, that's true. This guy is idle all day, wandering around, flirting with people, and he should be given something to do. Lin Xinrui nodded in agreement and said. Then it's decided. I'll go to the Human Resources Department to discuss the job fair later, and there will be a written notice in Assistant Wang's hands. Bai Qian immediately took over and glanced at Wang Chao. Wang Chao suddenly felt aggrieved. He was just a driver, how could he become an interviewer? You two should stop bullying the honest man. Even rabbits will bite when they are angry. How can I, a little driver, do the job of an interviewer? Wang Chao said with a grin. Assistant Wang, I hope you understand that your current position is the special assistant to the president, not a driver. Bai Qian corrected him righteously. Chapter 20 Qin Chusheng's Trap. This is completely treating people as animals. You said that I am a big man, and I can accompany you to eat, drink and sleep, but now you are putting such a heavy mountain on my shoulders. My little shoulders really can't bear it. Wang Chao continued to complain. Looking at the depressed Wang Chao, the two women smiled slightly and prepared to go out. Just then, Bai Qian's phone rang. Bai Qian went to the corner of the meeting room, listened to the phone, and returned to Lin Xinrui's side with a complicated expression. What's wrong, Sister Bai? Lin Xinrui and Bai Qian have a good relationship in private, so when there are no outsiders, she will call Bai Qian's sister Bai. It's a call from Dongfang Group, saying that their CEO Chen will come to Yunhai today and wants to invite you to dinner to discuss the cooperation of that project. Chen Yan from Dongfang Group. Want to discuss cooperation with me? Lin Xinrui asked curiously. She felt that this matter was strange. Originally, the two of them had agreed to talk at Tinlong Club 2 days ago, but when they got there, it was Qin Shou who was waiting for her there, and told her that this billion-dollar project of Dongfang Group had been fully entrusted to him. Now, how could their boss Chen Yan think of talking? Boss Lin, rumors are flying around that Dongfang Group's business has been handed over to Qin Group. Both parties have signed an agreement, and the only thing left is the final press conference. Chen Yan wants to talk to you today. I think he has ulterior motives. What ulterior motives? Wang Chao pouted. I think he has no good intentions. Chen Yan is just making fun of us. I even seriously suspect that Qin Chusheng, the old bastard, and Qin Shou, the little bastard, have set a trap for us to fall into. What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Xinrui rolled her eyes at Wang Chao and said, no matter what, this is always an opportunity. If the rumors outside are false, and Dongfang Group and Qin Group have not reached a cooperation at all, then we have a good chance to win this business. Sister Bai, call Dongfang Group back immediately and tell them that I will definitely be there. Xinrui, think about it again. If Wang Ti's crow mouth is right and it is really a trap set by Qin Group and Dongfang Group, then you will be in danger. Bai Qian advised. Lin Xinrui shook her head and expressed her opposition. This possibility is not great. After all, Dongfang Group is one of the largest companies in Yunhai City. It should not do something that harms others and does not benefit itself. Besides, we have no grievances with Qin Group that cannot be resolved. They will not be so deliberate to deal with me. Wang Chao curled his lips to express his dissatisfaction. Qin Shou, the only child of the Qin family, has been kicked in the ass by Han Shui. It is hard to say whether he can exercise his rights as a man in the future and whether he can continue the Qin family. Can this grudge be resolved? Of course, Qin Shou's father Qin Chusheng will definitely not let out such a private matter. Han Shui will not tell Lin Xinrui if nothing happens. It is understandable that Lin Xinrui does not know the inside story. Well, I will call Dongfang Group back immediately to confirm the time and place. Seeing that Lin Xinrui had made a decision, Bai Qian stopped persuading her and went to deal with her own affairs. Wang Chao, who wanted to persuade her, so that Bai Qian had left and Lin Xinrui was determined, so he did not say anything more. Besides, even if he said it, Lin Xinrui would not accept it. I can only work harder and protect this girl. After all, I swear to capture her heart and unlock more postures. At this time, in Qin Chusheng's study in the Qin family compound, the old housekeeper of the Qin family, Lao Li, was pushing the door and walked to Qin Chusheng's desk, reporting to Qin Chusheng who was concentrating on the computer screen. Master! Just heard the news that in the morning, Bao Wei of the Poison Dragon Gang went to the Oriental Group to blackmail Lin Xinrui for 3 million, but failed. He was ambushed by Wang Laohu's people in the south of the city and his limbs were crippled. Bao Wei was crippled by Wang Laohu of the Tiger Raw gang? Isn't that kid very skilled? Qin Chusheng asked in surprise, shifting his attention from the computer. I don't know the specific situation, but I heard that Lin Xinrui's driver Wang Chao was playing tricks in the middle. Lao Li replied calmly. It's this driver named Wang Chao again? Is this bastard a plague god? Whoever touches him will be unlucky. When it comes to Wang Chao, Qin Chusheng thinks of his son who is still in the hospital. Qin Shou, who doesn't know whether he can be a man in the second half of his life, flashes with anger in his eyes. Everything is related to Wang Chao, or in other words, it was done by Wang Chao. This Wang Chao has no special background, he is just a soldier who has just been discharged. He may be quite good. Lao Li briefly analyzed the matter and continued, but this matter is also a bit good for us. Benefits. Yes. You think, Bao Wei is now disabled, and the people of the Poison Dragon Gang will definitely seek revenge. If we trick Lin Xinrui out tonight and give her an accident on the road, everyone will think it is the revenge of the Poison Dragon Gang, and no one will think it is us. It must be said that Lao Li's plan is really vicious. Qin Chusheng nodded. This is really a good plan. If Lin Xinrui comes out, Wang Chao, as the driver, will definitely be around, and then they can kill the two of them at once, which can be regarded as a complete vent for his anger. Well, do it according to your method. Qin Chusheng nodded in agreement, and then thought for a while, and thought of a way to get Lin Xinrui out. Contact Mr. Chen of Longyu Group right away and ask him to invite Lin Xinrui to dinner tonight, using the excuse of discussing the business worth hundreds of millions. As long as he helps me with this, I am willing to give him another 10% discount on the price of this business. Qin Chusheng has made a big bet. This 10% net profit is equivalent to doing this order for nothing, with no profit at all. Well, I'll contact him right away, and then I'll make arrangements for the dinner venue. If we can solve the problem of the young driver first, we can do whatever we want to Lin Xinrui. Old Li said with a cold face and a sinister smile. After leaving the room, Old Li took out his phone and directly called Chen Yan of Longyu Group. After communicating with Chen Yan for a while, Old Li smiled sinisterly, and it was obvious that he had reached an agreement with Chen Yan. Chapter 21 The driver becomes a VIP. 6:30 p.m., Bai Yun Club. This is the top gathering place for wealthy people in Yunhai City. It is located halfway up Bai Yun Mountain in the north of the city. The environment is quiet and the architecture is very distinctive, completely imitating the classical European style. Many dignitaries in Yunhai City like to come here to discuss things or relax. After Wang Chao arrived with Lin Xinrui, he followed the waiter at the door to the private room where Chen Yan was. It's good to be rich. Even the things you enjoy are different. When I have money, I will buy a few acres of land in the countryside, become a landlord, build a castle, and marry 6 beautiful wives who will take turns to serve me. Looking at the magnificent and golden scene, Wang Chao dreamed. Lin Xinrui twitched her lips and said sarcastically, why not marry 7 wives? 1 a day, and it will be fresh. That won't work. We need to rest on the weekends. Wang Chao shook his head and objected, didn't Ji Yuling say that there are no plowed fields, only cows that die of exhaustion? How can a young man like me who has great ambitions for revenge work himself to death on a woman's belly? The waiter who was leading the 2 people stumbled and almost fell. Lin Xinrui's eyes were blazing with fire, her teeth were chattering, and she strode forward, not wanting to pay any attention to this guy. The private room where Chen Yan was staying was one of the best rooms in Bai Yun Club. It was a space of more than 300 square meters, beautifully decorated, luxurious yet not vulgar, elegant yet solemn, and the floor was covered with fine velvet blankets, making people feel like they were walking on clouds when they stepped on them. In the middle of the private room, there was a man sitting with no one serving him or following him. This man was Chen Yan. Chen Yan is a short and fat middle-aged man. Although he is not ugly, he is not handsome either. He always has a kind smile on his face. At first glance, he looks very kind and approachable. He is dressed very simply, but his small eyes shine from time to time, revealing the sophistication of a businessman. I always hear people say that Yunhai has a beautiful CEO. She is not only beautiful, but also good at business. Today I am lucky enough to see her. As soon as Lin Xinrui entered the private room, Chen Yan came to greet her with a smile on his face and a very cordial attitude. Mr. Chen, thank you very much. I am just a rookie and I still have a lot to learn from you. Lin Xinrui tapped Chen Yan's hand lightly, then withdrew it, with her habitual polite smile on her face, neither close nor distant. Come in first, let's sit down and talk slowly. Chen Yan let Lin Xinrui into the private room, but blocked Wang Chao outside the door without leaving a trace. Boss Lin, who is this guy? Oh, I forgot to introduce you. This is my special assistant Wang Chao. When he heard me say that I was coming to see you today, he insisted to come along. He said that he had always heard about you in Yunhai, but had never been able to meet you. Lin Xinrui said with a smile. Hello, Assistant Wang. You look so young. You must be about the same age as Mr. Lin. Young people nowadays are really amazing. Chen Yan smiled widely, shook hands with Wang Chao, and continued, I like to be with young people. This makes me feel like I am not old yet. Although she was complimenting Wang Chao, she was just blocking Wang Chao's body and refused to let him in. She turned to look at Lin Xinrui and said, Boss Lin, today's discussion is a big deal for our two companies, and there are many secrets involved. I hope we can talk alone. This. Lin Xinrui hesitated. So, Boss Chen is afraid that my 100-watt light bulb will dazzle your eyes. Wang Chao was not angry, nor did he force his way into the room. He continued, I completely understand. Any male would want to be alone in a room with our beautiful Boss Lin. Boss Wang, your motives are not pure. What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Xinrui cursed in a low voice. Wang Chao is like this himself and he thinks everyone is like this. Chen Yan was not angry after hearing what Wang Chao said. He smiled and said, Assistant Wang, you are overthinking it. I will tell you the truth. Our Longyu Group has contacted many companies for this business. I don't want the details of our discussion to be leaked. If so, it will have a bad impact on both of our companies, so. As he said this, Chen Yan's eyes drifted to Wang Chao. Lin Xinrui could also understand what he said. After thinking for a while, Lin Xinrui said to Wang Chao, wait for me outside. I want to talk to Mr. Chen alone. I have specially booked 2 private rooms. Assistant Wang can go there to eat and rest. I will let the waiter inform you after we have finished talking. Chen Yan made arrangements early and said, I'm a country kid, but I can eat and drink. I'm just afraid that if I eat and drink too much, Mr. Chen will feel bad for me. Wang Chao said with a naive smile. Lin Xinrui rolled her eyes at Wang Chao, then scolded him, Wang Chao, you can eat and drink as much as you want. I'll pay for it this time. Boss Lin, I can eat and drink to my heart's content if I spend your money. Wang Chao said with a silly smile, then you two can chat slowly, I have to go and eat my stomach. Boss Chen, I have handed over our beautiful Boss Lin to you intact, and when I come back later, you must return her intact, otherwise, I will be very angry with you. Assistant Wang, you're joking. Don't worry, if Mr. Lin loses a hair, you can ask me. Chen Yan patted his chest and promised. That's what you said. Wang Chao forced a meaningful smile on his face, then turned around and followed the waiter away. Only Lin Xinrui and Chen Yan were left in the room. Lin Xinrui rarely stayed alone with strange men, so she felt a little embarrassed and the smile on her face became a little stiff. Mr. Lin, please sit down. There's no need to be so restrained. At my age, I'm more than old enough to be a father. You don't think I have any ulterior motives towards you, do you? Chen Yan said with a big laugh. After hearing Chen Yan's words, Lin Xinrui felt relaxed, but also a little ashamed of her restraint. A soft chuckle appeared, like thousands of lotus flowers blooming, lighting up the entire room. She walked to the bar next to her and sat down, and Chen Yan sat next to her. Chapter 22 Negotiations break down. In the private room where Chen Yan and Lin Xinrui were, the two were sitting opposite each other in front of the tea table. While pouring tea for Lin Xinrui, Chen Yan explained some knowledge about the tea ceremony to her. From planting tea to picking tea, from picking tea to frying tea, and from frying tea to brewing tea, he talked with great interest. But Lin Xinrui's mind was not here. She tried to interrupt many times, but failed. She looked at the watch and found that more than an hour had passed. She could not bear it any longer. She felt ruthless, put the teacup on the tea table, and said, Mr. Chen, it's getting late, let's talk about that business. Har har, it seems that Mr. Lin has no interest in tea ceremony at all. Chen Yan laughed, glanced at the time, and said, "Okay, then let's talk about that business. Boss Lin, you also know that my business involves billions of dollars, and the profit is at least over 100 million. In fact, I really want to cooperate with your Dongfang Group. As long as the price you offer is right, I can make the decision immediately." Really? Lin Xinrui felt like a big pie had fallen on her head and couldn't believe it. For this business of Long Yu Group, it is necessary to find a trading company to link up with it and let a trading company act as an agent. The profit is very lucrative. If this business can be negotiated, it will be a big breakthrough for Dongfang Group. Not to mention the profit, the influence will also be greatly improved. Yes, how can I talk nonsense about such a thing? I even brought the contract with me. Chen Yan replied with a smile, now we have to deal with the fee. If we can agree on it, we can sign the contract right away. Okay, Mr. Chen is just as the rumors say, not slow at all. Lin Xinrui's eyes lit up, she clenched her pink fists excitedly, and said excitedly. She felt in her heart that her decision was so correct. The suspicions of Wang Chao and Bai Qian in the morning were completely groundless. Fortunately, she made up her mind to come and take a look, otherwise, the meat in her mouth would have slipped away. Seeing that he is old, he even brought the contract with him, so how could it be a complete package? We can discuss the money. Lin Xinrui replied hurriedly. After all, the relationship between this business and the other parties was too important. With this business, the Oriental Group would be able to control a lot of resources and channels, and then the Oriental Group would be able to grow and develop rapidly. Even if it meant making less money, the business had to be negotiated. Lin Xinrui was determined to chew this bone. The current agency price in the market is generally around 10%. How about this? If Long Yu Group gives this business to our Dongfang Group, I am willing to charge only 8%. What do you think, Mr. Chen? Lin Xinrui stared at Chen Yan and gave up 2% of the profit at once. You should know that this is tens of millions. I believe that in Yunhai, no company can offer this price. 8 points, for this business of about 3 billion yuan a year, is equivalent to Oriental Group charging only about 200 million yuan. After deducting the costs of personnel, logistics, and channels, plus some relationship management, Oriental Group's net profit has actually been suppressed very low. 8%. Mr. Lin, I come here with sincerity, and I hope that your Oriental Group can do the same. Chen Yan still had his habitual smile on his face and shook his head. Lin Xinrui thought for a moment, then said harshly, 7.5%. Chen Yan still shook his head, kept silent, and looked at Lin Xinrui. 7%, Mr. Chen, this is the bottom line. Lin Xinrui didn't say much, just threw out this price. Chen Yan seemed still not satisfied with the price. He held the teacup in his hand and drank tea leisurely. Mr. Chen, I believe that no other company can offer such a low price, not to mention in Yunhai, even in the whole country. If Long Yu Group gives this business to us, they can save nearly 100 million yuan, which is pure profit. Lin Xinrui did not continue to lower the price, but explained the importance of the matter to Chen Yan. I know, but after all, your Oriental Group is entering this field for the first time. If you don't have a price advantage, why should I give the business to you? Although Chen Yan had a smile on his face, his tone was non-committal. Then what price do you want us to sign the contract at? Lin Xinrui frowned deeply, trying not to let herself be impulsive. The man in front of her was an old fox who had been in the business world for a lifetime. Not to mention being impulsive, even if she was not impulsive, she would not be his opponent. Since Mr. Lin is so straightforward, I won't beat around the bush. I hope the price is this much. As he spoke, Chen Yan stretched out a hand and pointed with his fingers. 5%. 5%. Although Lin Xinrui was mentally prepared for the price to be lowered, she never expected that Chen Yan would lower the price so harshly. It was totally cutting into flesh. Restraining her anger, Lin Xinrui stared at Chen Yan, trying to see if he was joking. Mr. Chen, you are also a veteran in this industry. You want to eat up half of our profits just by reselling it. Isn't this inappropriate? We need to build channels, manage relationships, and train personnel, all of which cost money. And you want to charge so much just by lying here counting money. Isn't this a bit too greedy? All things considered, our total cost is about 5%, or even more. If the price is this, what profit will Dongfang Group make? What she said was very honest. If it was the price quoted by Chen Yan, not only would the Oriental Group not make any money, it would even have to pay a lot of money to get the business. Isn't this an international joke? Moreover, this loss is not a small amount, at least tens of millions, and no company would do this business. Lin Xinrui's eyes were filled with anger. Chen Yan did not put the Oriental Group on an equal footing at all. He was simply cutting the flesh of the Oriental Group. She is not an impulsive person. She was able to build Oriental Group from scratch to its current size. Naturally, she has her own unique way of doing things, not relying on her beauty. She fights for every inch of land in negotiations, which is the key to her success. Chapter 23, Beaten into a Pig's Head. Just when Lin Xinrui was about to open the door of the private room, the door suddenly opened by itself, leaving Lin Xinrui stunned. Seeing Wang Chao with his hands in his pockets and a piss-off look on his face, Lin Xinrui smiled. "Boss Lin, it's been almost 2 hours. I'm having a lot of fun over there. How's your side? Have you reached an agreement? Wang Chao, let's go back." Lin Xinrui pretended to be strong, but for some reason, when she saw Wang Chao, the grievances in her heart seemed to ferment and swell up, and tears involuntarily overflowed from her eyes. Seeing her moist eyes, Wang Chao's heart was hit hard. The smile on his face gradually disappeared. He looked inside coldly and found Chen Yan sitting there, drinking tea leisurely. Wang Chao's eyes narrowed and he walked straight towards Chen Yan. Seeing Wang Chao coming towards him aggressively, Chen Yan felt guilty. "Assistant Wang, what are you doing?" Chen Yan stood up from his seat, took 2 steps back, and said in panic. What? What did I just say? How dare you bully my boss?" Wang Chao rushed forward a few steps, grabbed Chen Yan's collar before Chen Yan could react, and pulled Chen Yan in front of him with force. He stretched out his hand and slapped Chen Yan several times. "No swearing, no giving reasons, just start beating. Slap in the face." Although Chen Yan struggled hard, as a pampered businessman, how could he compare to Wang Chao in strength? He couldn't even dodge. After a while, his face slowly swelled up like a head of dough. His lips were even broken by his teeth. After a scream, he spat out several teeth mixed with blood. "How dare you hit me?" Chen Yan's words leaked out, but Wang Chao didn't care and said nothing. He slapped Chen Yan in the face 6 times, 3 on the left and 3 on the right. Chen Yan turned into a pig's head, whimpering and unable to speak clearly. At this time, Lin Xinrui also came back. Seeing that Wang Chao wanted to continue fighting, she hurriedly grabbed Wang Chao's hand and said, "Wang Chao, stop fighting. Let's go back." Although she really wanted Wang Chao to beat Chen Yan to death, her reason told her to give up the idea. After all, this was still a society ruled by law, and killing someone in a place like Bai Qian Club was simply courting death. After saying that, he pulled Wang Chao and walked straight out of the private room, not wanting to see Chen Yan's ugly face again. "Since our boss has spoken, I will let you go first. If you don't, I will knock out all your teeth." "Fuck, you don't feel wronged, do you? When I left, I told you that I would return all my boss's hairs, otherwise, I will not let you go." Wang Chao let go of his hand, and Chen Yan immediately fell to the ground. Chen Yan struggled to get up from the ground and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood mixed with a few broken teeth, which almost made him faint. Chen Yan felt really wronged. Although he had a dispute with Lin Xinrui, and if he really wanted to do something to Lin Xinrui, he would accept the beating. But the problem was that he didn't even touch Lin Xinrui's little finger, okay? He was beaten into a pig's head. Who wouldn't be angry? "You still dare to say that you didn't do anything to my boss? Look, my boss." Wang Chao turned around and saw that Lin Xinrui had already walked out of the private room and was about to disappear from his sight. Moreover, Lin Xinrui had no missing arms or legs, and her clothes were intact, so it seemed that nothing had happened to her. However, he certainly could not admit it, and said angrily, "Look, my boss is walking with his hair messy. As the saying goes, the head can be cut and blood can flow, but the hairstyle cannot be messy. This is worse than killing my boss. Damn it. Your boss's hair is messy, it has nothing to do with me." Chen Yan's eyes turned white and he nearly fainted. He had always heard before that it was easy to find a pretext to accuse someone of a crime, but today he experienced it firsthand. "Chen Yan, stop pretending to be aggrieved. Do you really think I don't know about what you and Qin Chuxing did? Wang Chao twitched the corner of his mouth and sneered with disdain. After hearing this, Chen Yan's face froze and he didn't dare to shout or make a fuss anymore. It was indeed Qin Chusheng's housekeeper, Lao Li, who called him and asked Lin Xinrui to come here for dinner. If Lin Xinrui's driver Wang Chao was there, he must keep Wang Chao outside for at least an hour. Although he didn't know what Qin Chusheng was going to do, Chen Yan still did it for the 10% net profit promised by Qin Chusheng. You brought this upon yourself. If you want to continue playing, I'll keep you company. But listen carefully, as long as I'm here at the Oriental Group, no one will bully you. We won't cause any trouble, but don't bully us either. I remember everything you did today, so just wait and see. Wang Chao's face was extremely serious, not at all nonchalant. After he finished speaking, he turned around and chased after Lin Xinrui. You bastards, I won't let this go. I'll make you pay the price first. After Wang Chao walked out of the private room, Chen Yan's crazy roar reached his ears. Price? Wang Chao narrowed his eyes and paused. Yes. People always have to pay the price for their actions. Someone has to take responsibility for what happened tonight. When Wang Chao returned to the car, he saw that Lin Xinrui was already sitting in the car. She closed her eyes, clenched her fists, and her face twitched slightly involuntarily. Obviously she was extremely angry. It doesn't matter if the talks fail. There will always be successes and failures in negotiations. It doesn't matter if we don't get the business from Long Yu Group. Even without this business, Dongfang Group will not go bankrupt. However, she simply could not tolerate the contempt in Chen Yan's eyes and his disdain for the Oriental Group. Boss Lin, are you still mad at that scumbag? There's no need to do that. It's not worth it to ruin your health. Wang Chao opened the car door, sat in the driver's seat, turned his head to look at Lin Xinrui in the back seat, and said with a smile, I've already beaten his hypocritical face into a bun. I think this should make you feel better. Chapter 24: The Sorrow of the Children of the Family. By the way, I heard someone say recently that you have a boyfriend. Whether you are using him as a shield or you really like him, it's best to draw a clear line between you and him. The other party seemed to realize that he had lost his composure and quickly changed the subject. When I first came out, didn't you promise me that you would never interfere with my private life or give me orders about my work within the agreed period? Lin Xinrui yelled angrily into the phone. I promised you this, but this matter will damage your reputation. If the Shi family hears about it, how will they look at you? Don't think I'm unkind. It's okay to blame us, but we were born into a big family like the Lin family. Can. Don't say anything more. The 3 years was set by you, and it is also my last tolerance for you. Don't take my words lightly. Draw a clear line between you and him. If you really let me take action. You know I'm not a soft-hearted person. After speaking, the phone was hung up. Yes, if you were a kind-hearted person, you would not trade your own daughter. Lin Xinrui put the phone to her ear blankly, as if she didn't hear the beeping sound, and tears flowed from her eyes again. Is this the fate of our children? Even if we want to resist, we can't do it. Lin Xinrui looked ahead with lifeless eyes and murmured. Although he didn't hear everything clearly, seeing Lin Xinrui's expression and those few words did not prevent him from understanding the whole process. Mr. Lin, although I am just a peasant, I also know that I have to be the master of my own life and walk my own path in the future. Whether it's bumping or jumping, hitting the wall or walking on the sunny road, it has nothing to do with others. Even if you want to live a carefree life, others have no right to point fingers. Wang Chao curled his lips. You don't understand. Throwing the phone on the seat beside her, Lin Xinrui replied and turned to look out the window. I don't understand the world of you rich people, and I haven't received many years of education, but I do understand one thing: in this world, death is the only thing that you can't escape, and everything else is over and done with. It's no big deal at all. Wang Chao said with a distant look in his eyes. The person who just talked to you on the phone was your father, right? I just heard you talking about an agreement. What agreement do you two father and daughter have? Wang Chao retracted his gaze and asked curiously. Lin Xinrui stared out the window. She had never mentioned this matter to anyone before. But now that Wang Chao asked her, she didn't know why. She just wanted to tell him. When I was in college, my family arranged a marriage for me. Of course, I was against it. Ever since I can remember, I have been following the path they arranged for me, like a zombie. But I was only a 20-year-old girl. I didn't want the love I longed for to be tainted with the smell of money. In college, I refused to obey. My father didn't push me too hard at the time, but after I graduated from college, he couldn't stand it anymore and became furious at my opposition. Growing up, he thought that as a girl, I could not shoulder the family business and would eventually marry someone else. I was the only daughter in the family, so he decided to find me a man he thought was his ideal husband, a talent who could support the Lin family's great cause. Even though he yelled at me angrily and confined me to my home, I still didn't give in and even went on a hunger strike. Finally, my father compromised and made a 3-year agreement with me. In these 3 years, he won't interfere in anything I do, but I want to use these 3 years to let him see that I am truly capable of carrying the Lin family's foundation on my shoulders, and only then will he agree not to influence my marriage. Lin Xinrui slowly recounted what had happened, with bitterness filling the car. Wang Chao, who was listening carefully, couldn't help but complain, "Boss Lin, if this bloody plot of your family is adapted into a TV series, the ratings will definitely be very good. By the way, how can your father believe that you can take on the foundation of your Lin family?" Lin Xinrui did not show any emotion in response to Wang Chao's teasing and continued to talk. Dongfang Group was a small company that he had acquired before and was on the verge of bankruptcy. It was also struggling. When I took over, there were only a few people in the entire company and the business had completely shrunk. If it weren't for my father's funds, it would have gone bankrupt long ago. My father's request is that I build the Dongfang Group into the #1 trading company in Yunhai City within 3 years without his help. As long as I achieve this goal, he will not interfere in my marriage and let me choose my own destiny. #1 in Yunhai? The hole your father dug for you is really deep. Wang Chao widened his eyes, unable to believe it. He had seen fathers who cheated their children, but he had never seen one as cheating as this one. Yunhai is a port city with a developed trade industry. Many nationally renowned trading companies have branches here, and some even set up their headquarters here, including many Fortune 500 companies. The boss's father is really capable. He allowed his daughter to turn a company on the verge of bankruptcy into a Fortune 500 company within 3 years. Do you really think the Fortune 500 are a toilet that anyone can take a walk in? Although Oriental Group is developing rapidly, it is still too far away from that goal. Wang Chao clicked his tongue. Not to mention being #1 in Yunhai, the current Oriental Group can't even make it into the top 100. Lin Xinrui smiled bitterly, remembering Chen Nian's humiliation just now. If the Oriental Group was #1 in Yunhai, would it allow Chen Nian to humiliate it like this? Over the past 3 years, she has worked day and night, doing everything herself, and has devoted her heart and soul to not missing any opportunity to make the Oriental Group stronger. He turned a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy into a large enterprise with annual turnover of billions and gross profit of hundreds of millions, which can be considered a business miracle. Chapter 25 Outstanding Youth. By the way, from what you said just now, it seems that your father knows about the existence of my boyfriend. When can I buy 2 bottles of good wine and visit my father-in-law? When he sees me, a tall, outstanding young man who can eat and cook, he will definitely be smiling from ear to ear. Wang Chao held his head high and said arrogantly. Lin Xinrui found that if she stayed with Wang Chao any longer, she would have to go to an ophthalmologist to have her eyes checked out because she rolled her eyes too often. How come this guy has no self-awareness at all? Can a person who is lazy all day long, wandering around, not daring to do serious work, and flirting with other women be called an outstanding young man? Where does he get the confidence to say such shameless words? Wang Chao, you'd better leave and don't show up again. Otherwise, I'm afraid something might happen to you. Suddenly I remembered what my father said before I hung up the phone, and a deep worry filled my heart. Leave? How can I leave? How can a responsible man like me abandon my woman at such a critical moment? Wang Chao firmly objected. Can. Don't say buts, Mr. Lin. You'd better make arrangements quickly and let me visit my father-in-law. When we meet, I guarantee you that he will think that he was blind before. Those people he liked are all scum in front of me. In the end, he will definitely cry and scream to marry you to me. Wang Chao continued to brag. I don't know how many times I rolled my eyes tonight. Lin Xinrui has completely lost count. Does this guy think he is the chairman or prime minister of Huaxia? And he is crying and begging me to marry him? Seeing the deep disdain in Lin Xinrui's eyes through the rearview mirror, Wang Chao smiled and said, Don't you still not believe it? Let's go and watch the opera. We'll see. Well, you've been busy for most of the night, and I think you're tired too. You can take a rest over there. I'll call you when we get home. Lin Xinrui was really a little tired, so she leaned back in her chair, closed her eyes, and calmed down. At this moment, Wang Chao, who was in the driver's seat, suddenly leaned over to the back seat and, with lightning speed, tapped Lin Xinrui's snow-white neck. Lin Xinrui suddenly felt as if she had no strength left in her body and collapsed on the back seat. It's a dark and windy night, and we're alone. Should I do something like a thief and a prostitute? And experience what it's like to have sex outdoors? Of course, Wang Chao was just talking. He was not Qin Shou and could not do such a beastly thing. He greedily withdrew his gaze from Lin Xinrui's delicate body, controlled the car, and continued driving forward. A man can be romantic, but he cannot be vulgar. You are still haunting me. I didn't find you, but you came to provoke me again. Today I will let you know that not everyone can touch my woman, Wang Chao. Wang Chao focused his eyes on the rear-view mirror, only paying attention to the road ahead with his peripheral vision, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. The rear-view mirror was dark, and there was no one or car at all, but who was Wang Chao? As the leader of the wolf pack, he had already noticed that there were at least 4 cars following behind. After he came out of the Bai Qian club, these cars had been following him, turning off their headlights, hiding in the darkness, and hanging far behind him at a distance of thousands of meters. He hasn't made a move yet, probably waiting for an opportunity to kill with one blow. Ahead is the Bai Qian mountain winding road, which has the most bends and the most complicated road conditions. There are towering trees here, and even with the street lights on, it still looks very gloomy. There is a 1,000-foot cliff next to it, and even with a guardrail, it still looks creepy. It's a dark, windy night with a cliff and a deep abyss. This place is a great place to kill someone. Wang Chao muttered something, but before he could finish his words, the 4 cars behind him started moving. Master, our plan at the Bai Qian club did not succeed. In the Qin family compound, in Qin Chuxing's study, old Li, with a gloomy face, was standing in front of Qin Chuxing and giving a report. What? Who on earth is that Wang Chao? Why can't we succeed whenever we encounter him? Qin Chuxing asked harshly. This Wang Chao does have some tricks up his sleeve. The people I sent out are all good assassins. They failed to assassinate Wang Chao, and were instead injected with the medicine we provided by Wang Chao. Those assassins are now useless. But don't worry, sir. In addition to this move, I have also prepared a backup plan. Our people are still following that kid and Lin Xinrui, and have now blocked them on the Bai Qian mountain winding road, the most dangerous section of the road. This time, it will be difficult for them to survive. Old Li narrowed his eyes and said coldly. It will definitely succeed this time, right? Don't tell me it didn't succeed again. Qin Chuxing said hatefully. Old Li nodded and said affirmatively, Master, don't worry, this time it will definitely succeed. These 20 people are all elites I picked from our security department. Most of them are from the underground boxing ring. They are very ruthless. And I asked Yang Long to go too, so there will be no more accidents. Yang Long? Is that the soldier you mentioned? The one who made me spend a lot of money to keep him in the company? Qin Chuxing asked. Yes, that's Yang Long. Although he was expelled from the military by the 3rd Special Forces Brigade of China, he is very capable. As far as I know, he always won first place in the brigade competitions during the years he served. If he hadn't injured a non-commissioned officer in a fight, he might have been able to go further. I have some friendship with his father, so I brought him to the Qin group. Old Li explained. Qin Chuxing nodded with satisfaction and said, I never thought that this idle person you recruited is actually a master. The number 1 man in the Special Forces Team 3. I want to see how Wang Chao can come back to life this time. Finally, he can avenge Qin Shou. The 4 cars sandwiched Wang Chao's Mercedes-Benz in the middle, with a distance of dozens of meters between the front and the back. The road was very narrow, and Wang Chao could not overtake, so he had to stop helplessly. Chapter 26, All Killed. Yang Long, what do you mean? Uncle Li said that this man must be laid to rest today, otherwise, we will all have a hard time. But what are you doing? Still chatting with him? Do you want me to get a bag of melon seeds and a few bottles of beer? After you have a good chat, we can do it later. A rude man next to Yang Long yelled. You idiot, why did you sell out Uncle Li? Isn't that telling everyone that we were sent by President Qin? Another person complained. Fuck, what's there to be afraid of? He will be a dead body soon. What will happen if I tell him? Even if he complains to the King of Hell, can the King of Hell take us all in? Yeah, that makes sense. Yang Long, stop wasting time and finish the job quickly. There's a girl waiting for me. The other 20 or so men all started to urge him on. Wang Chao slowly glanced at the 20 or so people and said coldly, "Are you so eager to see the King of Hell? Damn it, this kid is too arrogant. Don't hold me back, I'll skin him alive. Yes, kill this guy. Up, up, up." These 20 or so people no longer obeyed Yang Long's orders. They were all angry and rushed forward, forming a circle and slowly approaching Wang Chao. Yang Long's eyes were filled with anger at their disobedience. He wanted to speak up to stop them, but he knew he couldn't. After all, this is not a military camp. Yang Long, don't you want to join us? Faced with being surrounded by more than 20 people, Wang Chao was not afraid and calmly asked Yang Long, who was outside the circle. "I didn't want to come at first, but Uncle Li has done my family a favor, so I have to come. But if you can deal with these 20 people, I will let you go." Yang Long thought for a moment and promised. Wang Chao nodded in approval. This guy wasn't really that bad. There is help. Your years of military service have not been in vain. Wait until I learn how to deal with these 20 or so idiots, and then I'll have a good chat with you. MD, did this guy fall from the 3rd floor and hit his head when he was a child? He can't see the situation clearly, The burly man who stood out the most was still ridiculing Wang Chao, but before he could finish his words, he felt a darkness in front of his eyes and a huge fist appeared in front of him. He subconsciously dodged to the side, but he was nowhere near as fast as Wang Chao, and no matter how hard he dodged, he couldn't get away. Wang Chao punched him in the eye socket, and his eyeball was instantly popped. His other eye looked at the sky unwillingly, and he fell down in a daze. Dead. Before the others realized what was happening, one of their brothers was killed. By the time they reacted, Wang Chao seemed to have returned to the old days, with the power of life and death in his hands. His body was as fast as lightning, and he moved around many big men in a flash. In just 3 minutes, there was no sound in the field, not even screams. More than 20 men were all beheaded and killed here. Yang Long, who had been trying to control his attitude, was now shocked beyond words. He stared blankly at the scene. The 20 or so people who had been full of energy and shouting at him and blaming him just now were now all lying coldly on the ground, going to meet the so-called King of Hell in their conversations. This is impossible. Yang Long shook his head, trying to clear his mind and get rid of the illusion. But this was not an illusion. Even if he shook off his head, the scene would not change. A minute later, Yang Long accepted the reality. But the fear of Wang Chao is deep in his bones. He knew that these 20 or so men were all from underground boxing rings. They were ruthless and methodical in their attacks and were not street thugs. He also knew that among these 20 men, several of them had killed several people, all of whom had died in the underground boxing rings. They had truly experienced the baptism of life and death. Even he could remain undefeated against 5 people, but he would surely die if facing 10 people. But Wang Chao managed to kill more than 20 people in just 3 minutes. It takes great skills to be able to do that. In fact, it feels good to kill some bastards and bad guys when you have nothing to do. Wang Chao smiled and was at a loss. He didn't feel anything at all about having killed more than 20 people, as if it was just a calm thing, as if he had crushed a dozen ants to death. Who are you? With such skills, you are definitely not an unknown person. Yang Long looked at Wang Chao warily and asked. Didn't I just say that? We are in the same system. Wang Chao said casually. This is impossible. Yang Long didn't believe it. After all, he had been in the 3rd Special Forces Brigade for 3 years and had never missed any of the annual competitions with other units. If Wang Chao was also from the Special Forces, with Wang Chao's skills, there is no way he didn't know. Oh, there is another possibility. Yang Long opened his eyes wide and looked at Wang Chao in disbelief. Are you from the Wolf Pack? This is the only possibility. As the leader of the 3rd Special Forces Brigade, Yang Long knows a little more than most people. He knows the Wolf Pack. If it weren't for that accident, he might have already become a member of the Wolf Pack. He also had infinite admiration for the Wolf Pack. He did not regret that incident, but not joining the Wolf Pack was a regret in his life. Har har. Wang Chao laughed, neither denying nor confirming. I almost joined the wolf pack before, but. Yang Long's eyes were filled with memories, and he continued. Not joining a wolf pack in this life is my biggest regret. I have always hoped that I could become the second alpha wolf, the second Wang Chao. Having said this, Yang Long choked again, his eyes filled with inexplicable disbelief. Wang Chao? Wang Chao. The leader of the wolf pack is called Wang Chao. You are the leader of the wolf. You must be the leader of the wolf. Yang Long was shocked and unbelievable, but he felt it was natural. Only the alpha wolf would have such skills. He is indifferent to human life, chopping melons and vegetables like a piece of cake. All enemies in front of him will have the only outcome of surrendering. Yang Long looked at Wang Chao expectantly, wanting to get an answer. Wang Chao kept silent and looked at Yang Long with a smile. Chapter 27 Crazy World. Yang Long looked at Wang Chao, who looked serious and didn't seem to be joking, and said helplessly. Wang Chao, Lao Li of Qin Group, has done a great favor to my family and is my father's savior. I will join Qin Group only after I retire from the army. During this time, I was in the Qin Group, and I also knew what kind of people Lao Li and Qin Chuxing were. I had planned to do what I did today, repay Lao Li's favor, and then leave, but I didn't expect to meet you. A favor? Can this be a reason for you to collude with the people of Qin Group and help the evil? Wang Chao said disdainfully. Yang Long, as a man, you should know that men should do what they should do and should not do what they should not do. People always have to pay the price for what they do. I see. Yang Long, who had been bowing his head in shame at what Wang Chao said, raised his head and looked directly at Wang Chao without dodging or avoiding, with determination in his eyes. Alpha Wolf, I will fight you today. Even if I die in your hands, it will be the price I pay for being an accomplice to the evil. I will have no regrets. Wang Chao finally smiled a little and said, he looks like a real man. Those years in the military camp were not in vain. Now that the decision has been made, Yang Long no longer hesitates. Adjust your emotions and fight Wang Chao with the strongest attitude. It is not only a respect for Wang Chao, but also a respect for oneself. Let us get started. He was fully focused, and a sense of freedom emanated from his body. It was the courage to forge ahead on the battlefield and the determination to die bravely. Wang Chao was still standing there casually, but his mind was unusually focused. Yang Long is not a street thug. If Wang Chao does not take it seriously and ends up in a ditch, the wolf pack will laugh at him. R. Yang Long roared, pushed hard with his feet, and rushed straight towards Wang Chao. It was so fast, like a flash of lightning, shining in the darkness. Feng Kai arrived in front of Wang Chao, but he kicked his feet and stopped immediately, then punched Wang Chao in the chest with a standard military punch. He used all his strength in this punch, and there was even a sound of breaking air. If it hit the opponent, it would definitely break the opponent's sternum and kill him instantly. This move is considered to be an offensive and defensive move in military boxing. It can be used for attack when advancing and for defense when retreating. Even an ordinary martial arts master would have to temporarily avoid a soldier with such skills. However, Wang Chao did not even dodge. Before Yang Long threw a punch, he struck out with his right hand, clenched his fist, and also punched towards Yang Long's fist. He actually saw through Yang Long's moves completely. Boom! The two fists hit each other, making a sound like iron hitting stone, dull but loud. Yang Long's eyes narrowed and he quickly took a few steps back to try to dissipate the great force that Wang Chao was exerting on his arm. His entire arm felt as if it had been hit by a stick and he felt a dull pain. Wang Chao's face remained calm. He did not take a step back, nor did he pursue. The leader of the wolf pack is indeed incredibly powerful. I thought I was very close to you, but I didn't expect that there was a huge gap between us. Yang Long smiled bitterly, enduring the severe pain in his hand, and looked at Wang Chao, who looked normal. Don't flatter me. I didn't expect that you, who were about to join the wolf pack, would only have this much ability. It's all thanks to me that I didn't accept you into the wolf pack. Otherwise, you would have brought shame to the wolf pack. Wang Chao curled his lips and said contemptuously. Yang Long's face flushed red, his eyes were fierce, and he was filled with anger. Chinese soldiers would rather die than be humiliated. He gradually suppressed the pain in his body, said no more, and rushed towards Wang Chao, attacking him frantically. Cross-arm, elbow strike, straight kick, mid-air spinning kick. Yang Long seemed to be crazy, no defense, only attack, knocked down the opponent, fearless. Every move was aimed at Wang Chao's vital points, with astonishing lethality. This was not just some fancy kung fu, but a real fight for life. These were all close combat techniques summed up by Chinese soldiers with countless blood and tears. Wang Chao smiled slightly, not stunningly, but with admiration. Yang Long's muscles have great explosive power. It seems that even after retiring from the army, he has not stopped exercising. His body is also very flexible and his speed is amazing. If he had not made a mistake at the beginning, he would definitely become a member of the wolf pack and an expert in close combat. Wang Chao's mind was full of thoughts, but he did not hesitate. It was actually directed at Yan Long, attacking against the attack. No matter what moves Yan Long made, he could always counterattack with the same moves at the same time. It can be seen from this that Wang Chao has integrated this set of close combat skills into his bones, as if he was fighting instinctively. The sound of iron clashing with stone reverberated in the field and echoed in the deep ravines of Bai Qian Mountain, sounding distant and loud. After a while, Yan Long, who had been attacking with all his strength based on his belief, was already soaked all over. His strength was gradually disappearing, and he felt pain all over his body. Even his iron will could not suppress it. In 10 minutes, Yang Long's entire body was covered with scars, bruises, and blood. His hands and feet were a bloody mess, and he looked extremely miserable. You have average skills, but great faith. If you can keep going, you'll definitely become a member of the wolf pack. Wang Chao's eyes flashed with admiration. He felt that there was no need to delay any longer and stopped defending blindly. After Yan Long was repelled again, he rushed forward quickly and was actually almost parallel to Yan Long. One person steps back, one person steps forward. Yan Long was horrified and wanted to attack, but before he could throw a punch, Wang Chao's iron arm had already swung out. With a horizontal arm, he hit Yan Long's chest hard, causing him to feel chest tightness. This was not over yet. Wang Chao accelerated again, held Yan Long, and rushed towards the car nearby. Yan Long only felt that he was thrown out with great force and hit the car beside him. As his body hit the car door, a big hole was smashed in the door, and he fell limply to the ground. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood and suffered serious internal injuries. Without waiting for him to react, Wang Chao rushed up again and kicked him on the side of his butt, causing him to slide more than 5 meters and hit a car nearby before stopping.